All right, are we good? Are we live? I think we are. Hello all and welcome back to the Women's Football Chat Live. It's time for the Women's Champions League semi-finals. A huge match to kick off the semi-finals as FC Bayern Munich welcome Barcelona. This is going to be a fantastic tussle. In their last meeting, it was Barcelona who battered Bayern, but history has this as a much closer affair. So, Harry, as we get into the first Champions League semi-final tonight, how are you feeling ahead of it? Is it going to be a much closer game than when these two sides met in October?
I really hope so, and I think it will be. This is a different kettle of fish. This is the Champions League semi-final. That was the match week one of the league phase. This is a different occasion, and Bayern Munich, especially in front of their home crowd, are going to want to do something special tonight. This is where the players get the opportunity to light up the Champions League stage and potentially put their side 2 games away from glory. So a massive night in this first leg, and yet thoroughly looking forward to it. A brilliant matchup between these two sides is expected. So yeah, I'm expecting something big tonight between two brilliant footballing sides.
Yeah, I mean, for Barcelona, it's a real case this year of they got to the final last year in Pere Romeo's first season. They lost out there. This is their opportunity. Now, we all remember Jordan Geraldes lost his first final, went on to win his second season. Does it feel like Romeo's out of excuses and that he's got to get through it and win this one?
Yeah, I think that he will hold himself to that standard as well as fans and as well as the media, because he knows that at Barcelona the expectation is to win the Champions League. Getting to the final is below expectations really from a Barcelona point of view. They will want to get there this year, right their wrongs from last year, and go on and win the competition. So absolutely, I think Romeo himself will realise that has got to be the aim, to win the Champions League, and anything short of that will be a bit disappointing. So definitely should be second time lucky for him, but they've got to get past a very tricky opposition in Bayern Munich this evening.
Absolutely not. And on Bayern, how much growth have we seen? Because I remember watching them at the start of the season. They lost 7-1 to Barcelona in that game. Bit of a sluggish start to the campaign. Obviously, Jose Barcola coming in over the summer. But how much improvement have we seen since then for Bayern?
Yeah, massive. They've looked absolutely brilliant as the campaign's gone on. They've got stronger and stronger, as you say. The opening games were below the standard, and we had a lot of questions, especially after that drubbing against Barcelona. But they've got better and better as the campaign has progressed. Obviously, they've already wrapped up the Frauen Bundesliga title because of how impressive their form has been. I thought they were really strong across both games against Manchester United as well, especially in that first leg. Away from home. But yeah, they've come on leaps and bounds, and I think that they will fancy themselves to try and cause Barcelona some problems today and reach their first final in their history.
Yeah, absolutely. And two sides who have been incredibly formidable as of late. Bayern unbeaten in their last 27 matches. Barcelona unbeaten in 29. So two sides in great form. Should be a great matchup today. We are at the Allianz Arena, so we'll start with the Bayern Munich team. It is a 4-2-3-1 for Bayern Munich. In goal, Marma Tobic. A back four of Gwyn, Vigersdottir, Gil and Ket. In the midfield pivot, it's Stanway alongside Amani. On one wing, Dahlmann. On the other, Clara Buell. In the 10 role, it is Tanikawa. And leading the line, Pernilla Harder. That Bayern team, so much quality in there, but a lack of Champions League winning experience. Vanessa Gil, the only player in that lineup who's won the Champions League before. So a bit of inexperience there, but still lots of players who have experience at the highest level, have won a lot of other competitions, and know what it takes to try and win this kind of game.
Yeah, absolutely. As you say, yes, only one of them has won this competition, but there's a lot of players that know what it takes to get trophies across the line and knows what it takes to beat a side like Barcelona, and they've got to call upon that experience today. The Champions League is a brilliant stage, and I think that these kind of games, they need a perfect mix of experienced heads who have been here before and done it, but also it provides an opportunity for youth players and for talents to come through and shine. I think Bayern Munich have got both areas of that locked down. As you say, Gilles in there, Vigersdottir experience, Pernilla Harder. I mean, how much more experience do you want? But then you've also got players like Tanikawa who can come into this game, and if she can get on the ball, she can show everyone what she's got. A magical player. So it's a very, very strong Bayern Munich side. It's not full strength. It's not perfect due to the injuries, but it is still an 11 that is full of quality.
I mean, yeah, such a technically gifted front line. And unfortunate stat for Pernilla Harder, who's kind of looking to right Champions League wrong. She's the only player in Champions League history to reach 3 finals and never win the competition.
Wow.
So she'll be hoping to right that wrong this year. And let's take a look then at the visitors, Barcelona. It's a 4-3-3 for Barcelona. In goal, Catalina Cole. A back four of Battier, Paredes, Mapileon and Brugts. In midfield three, it's Lopez, Gallardo and Putea. Still no Bonmati, but she could be fit in time for the second leg. And a front line of Caroline Graham-Hansen, Eva Payor and Claudia Pina. I mean, it's star-studded across the side, Harry. If you had to pick out, though, a star player in this side without Bonmati there, who would you look at?
Oh, that is an impossible question to answer, I feel. I think you could pick any of the front six for Barcelona. Again, it really depends who is going to turn up on this occasion. Claudia Pina is an absolute magician with the ball at her feet. Payor is a deadly number 9 if they can get her on the ball, in and around the penalty area, will punish Bayern Munich for making errors. This team, that front line, tore apart Bayern Munich earlier in the campaign, and that's what they'll be looking to do once again this evening. Probably won't be as easy, but that will be their aim, to continue that and to continue their revenge for losing the final last year. It is a ridiculously strong side for Barcelona, and as I say, if you get any of that front three on the ball, in and around the penalty area, there's a high likelihood that Barcelona come out with at least scoring, or at least forcing Bayern Munich into some brilliant defensive work.
Yeah, so reflecting on the last round then, Bayern, they found a way against Manchester United, but would you have some concerns around their defensive display? Tonight's, the most important thing for Bayern is that they are good defensively. Barcelona are the best attacking team in the world. Stopping them scoring is going to be really important. But they conceded in both matches against Manchester United. Does that cast some doubt in your mind about their ability to stop Barca today?
Yeah, there's a bit of doubt there. Not necessarily because of the volume of goals they conceded, but it's also the fashion that they conceded them in. I look at those goals they conceded against United, and obviously one was the penalty against Old Trafford. The one at the Allianz was very sloppy goal to concede, and that is my main concern, is that you cannot afford to make mistakes against Barcelona. You cannot afford to give them sloppy goals, because that's what takes this game from being a tight game where Barcelona edge it through quality to being a drubbing. Because Barcelona have the ability against Bayern Munich tonight to score 1, 2, 3 goals. If Bayern also put their own errors on top of that, that goes from a 1 or 2-0 game to a 4 or 5-0 game. And that is what Bayern Munich have got to be careful of. Of course, Barcelona do force those errors, most of the time, but from an individual's point of view, they cannot afford to make mistakes. They've got to defend well. Penalties, you can't afford to commit. Again, that's just you. In these kind of matches, and it applies to both sides, but more for Bayern because Barca scored 7 against them back in September. But it's important that they don't give away silly goals, don't give away cheap goals, and if Barcelona do win tonight, make them work for that result. Don't just hand it to them on a plate because you've given away a sloppy penalty and you've misplaced a back pass.
Yeah, and home advantage, obviously, in this first leg. That can be really important for Bayern. We know that 6 meetings between the two sides, 4 wins for Barcelona, 2 for Bayern. But Barcelona only won once in Munich. So it does feel like home advantage could be really important for Bayern this evening.
Yeah, it's going to be crucial. I think that, again, we saw a lot that the sides who played at home first, or won that first leg, won that home leg, managed to get through in the quarterfinals. And I think that Bayern Munich have got to view this as an opportunity. I thought the attendance for the second leg at the Allianz in the quarterfinal was absolutely brilliant. And if it's similar numbers to that, then they're going to have a massive crowd behind them, Bayern Munich, tonight. And they've got to use that. Got to get on top. Use this home leg to make Barcelona work for it in the second leg. It's a massive opportunity. Majority of the crowd is going to be behind them. And that can fuel you sometimes. It's a bit of a football cliche, but those fans can be the 12th player that you need to go on and get that result. Could give them that extra push to get something from this game. So yeah, home advantage is absolutely crucial tonight, and Bayern Munich have got to use the energy from the crowd from minute 1.
Yeah, indeed. H saying Pina not in form. I don't know why she keeps playing. Give Salma a chance. I think you'd look at a game like today, though, and we'd expect Bayern to be dropping very deep. And Paralluelo doesn't really suit those kind of games. She's much more suited to games where the opposition's going to play a high line and there's space to attack in behind. You're not going to get that in today's game. Bayern, you would expect, are going to be very disciplined, very regimented. They need to take inspiration really from their German counterparts at VfL Wolfsburg, who in that game against Lyonnais was so good defensively and then sprung forward. And the one opportunity they got in that first leg, they took it. And ultimately, yes, it fell apart right at the end of the second leg. But they did a really good job of nullifying Lyonnais for large parts of that game. In this one, that's exactly what Bayern have to do again. And that's what Barcelona are safeguarding against. They know that Bayern are going to sit deep. They're going to be in a low block. Paraluelo thrives on space. You're not going to get afforded that kind of space today. Paraluelo's much better later in games where perhaps sides do lose their discipline a little bit. The game opens up a little bit more and there's space for her to stretch the opposition backline. So I think she's much better as a substitute. The fact she can also play up front or on the wing does give them a little bit more flexibility as well. Because when you look at that subs bench, it's a very young bench for Barcelona. They lost a lot of their backups last summer. And so they don't really have the options that they'd like to have in those kind of positions. So Paraluelo off the bench, being able to play multiple roles, makes a lot more sense to me, even though Pina isn't really in form. But Claudio Pina's still a top quality player, was Barcelona's most important player for me last season on their run towards the Champions League final. So there's every chance she can rekindle that in a game like this. And we saw how important she was. She stepped up in the semi-finals last year and was their sort of leading player in those attacking moments. So if she can do that again today, that could be really important. So I understand, form is a big part of it, but I think this kind of opponent, Pina's much better suited to. So yeah, can't miss out from kickoff then, set to be a very good game here at the Allianz. Again with Bayern, we often speak about this with underdogs, but it's about hitting those targets, Harry, about getting to 5, getting to 10 minutes, trying to nullify Barcelona's threat.
Yeah, absolutely. Bayern Munich cannot view this as 90 minutes against Barcelona because that's when you put yourselves in trouble. But get through the first 5-10 minutes without conceding. Don't worry too much.
Don't do what Real Madrid did.
Exactly. That game was over. Within the first, they conceded 2 goals in 12 minutes in that first leg. That was game over, practically tie over at that point. Bayern Munich, use that home crowd, get off to a good start, get your players behind the ball, get through the first 5-10 minutes unscathed, then look to get into the game. And then you can start to have your impact. Get Clara Buell, get Pernilla Harder onto the ball. They're going to be crucial, not only going forwards, but also defensively. If Harder can get on the ball and hold it up, that will just take the pressure off the Bayern Munich backline and it will stop Barcelona building up that relentless momentum that usually kills teams off. So yeah, definitely get through the first 5-10 minutes unscathed, look to grow into the game. For Barcelona, it'll be business as usual. If they can nick an early goal, put themselves in control of the 90 minutes from minute 1, then Bayern Munich are going to be in for a long evening. But yeah, first 5-10 minutes of this tie are absolutely crucial because Bayern Munich have got to settle in. The fact they're at home, the fact they are at home should go a long way to making that possible.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, let's dive into predictions then. If you're watching along to the show, let us know your scoreline prediction in the live chat. We're going to read through all of those ahead of kickoff. We'll get things started here in the studio. And as always, Harry, you can get us started. Bayern Munich taking on Barcelona in the Champions League semi-final first leg. What is your prediction?
I'm going to stick with what I said in the preview. I think that Bayern Munich will do a good enough job this evening to keep it competitive and to keep it level. So I'm going to say Bayern Munich 1, Barcelona 1. I think that it will be a fast start for the home side and they will nick an early goal with Clara Buell scoring an absolute worldie, giving them something to defend. They'll look to hold on to that lead and take it into the second leg, but I think it'll be Claudia Pina to step up like she did last year, to step up for Barcelona as in the latter stages of the game. With another outrageous goal, we know she can score and level the scores. So I will say a 1-1 draw in this first leg, leaving it all to play for next week.
Yeah, I think we want Bayern to make this competitive going into next week. If they try and play out today, I just think they're going to get stung. I'm going to back them to pull off a big result. So I'm going to say 1-0 Bayern Munich against Barcelona. Not often that we both bet against Barca, but we want to see something happen in the Champions League. I don't think Bayern will fall apart like they did earlier in the season. I hope they will look at what went wrong for Real Madrid in the Champions League quarterfinals and be much more defensive and focus on the defensive side of the game. If they can withstand the pressure from Barca trying to come forwards, there's space in behind to exploit, and they can move the ball very quickly. They've got attackers like, particularly Clara Buell. They can get her on the ball. They can get her and Harder to combine. They've got players that can make something happen. Tanakara as well, if she gets an opportunity on the ball, is going to be really important in this game. So I think they need to get those players on the ball. If they can do that and they can be defensively solid, I think they can get a result today. So I'm going to say 1-0 Bayern Munich, and I'm going to go for Pernilla Harder to get that goal. Always steps up in the big moments, Pernilla Harder. One of the best strikers in the world on her day. A little bit old now at 33, but still more than capable of providing when needed, really. Lots of predictions coming into the live chat then. Locus saying hard one, but 2-1 Barcelona. Fair enough. Zato saying 4-0 Barca. Likewise, Phil saying 4-0 Barca would love to be wrong, though. Hermie saying 2-1 Barcelona. And Don Grenos, my favourite prediction so far, saying 4-4.
Wow.
What a semi-final that would be.
That would be incredible. Absolutely incredible. And I think that Barcelona have already got the little win here of winning the toss and choosing to spin Bayern round, which won't favour the home side. They would have wanted to attack this glorious end that is full of Bayern Munich supporters in the first half, but it looks in the second half, but they have been swapped round, which some people believe in it, some people don't believe in it. I personally think that it can have a bit of a difference. So a small win for Barcelona there. But yeah, I think no matter what happens here, hopefully we are in for a competitive and brilliantly matched semi-final.
I think it's one of those where if you're a fan, it matters so much.
Yeah.
If you're a player and that's bothering you, you should have bigger things on your mind. You're about to play Barcelona. I'd worry about that rather than which end you have to play at. So, yeah, we'll see how this game goes at the Allianz Arena. Bayern Munich taking on Barcelona, the Champions League semi-final, first legs. The aesthetic of the sun, not what we really want, but still, Champions League semi-final action. It's going to be a fantastic game as the players make their way into their positions on the field. It will be Bayern to get us started in this one. Tanekawa from the middle waits for the referee's whistle before getting us underway. And we have the countdown here at the Allianz Arena as we tick down to the start. And now Tanekawa will knock it back. We're underway for Champions League semi-final action. Bayern Munich taking on FC Barcelona, who will come out on top. Well, Bayern trying to come forwards early on and putting Barca under pressure. It's one back by Leon, though, who clears her lines considerably. And Vigas sending back the other way and out for a Barcelona throw.
Yeah, very intrigued to see how Bayern Munich will play these opening stages. Will they go hard and fast and try and nick an early goal in front of their home crowd, or are they just going to sit in and absorb pressure, which I think is the smarter way to go about it.
Brooks with an excellent switch to the play. Here's Caroline Graham-Hansen now. Battier on the overlap. She's going to look to slot her in behind, and Gilles coming across the experienced centre half and knocking it out of play. And that will be a Barcelona throw-in on the far side. Throwing back to Caroline Graham-Hansen. It goes all the way back to Mape Leon. And now Gallardo knocking it wide. Battier in this high position. Now Gallardo lifting it over the top, just looking to dink it in behind. Ket deals with it, gets it clear, and Duhlmann challenging in the air. That sees it go back all the way to Mape Leon. Barcelona settling on the ball in the halfway line, already camped high up in this Bayern half. Now dropping back to get touches on the ball. Gallardo, Paredes, back to Patrick Gallardo. And now Putellas. Here's Gallardo. Shame to see Putellas in this deeper role, obviously filling that Bonmati role where you drop deeper and then look to push forward and penetrate a little bit later. But I always think our best work's done much higher up the pitch. Pina dropping in to receive. Now Putellas knocks it right with Battier, who's going to find the width now of Caroline Graham-Hansen. Hansen looking to take on Ket. Ket stands her up well, and possession won back in there by Clara Buell. Here's Stanway in her own penalty area. Does poke it out to Ket. And Bayern now can play down the left-hand side. Ket looking to knock it in behind. It goes all the way in behind and through to Catalina Koll.
Yeah, don't mind that from Ket. A very busy evening for her as she looks to try and halt Caroline Graham-Hansen, which is not an easy task.
No, not at all. And Hermie saying people only generally beat Barcelona in one-off games. Absolutely. Barcelona have not lost a two-legged game since 2020. That's 6 years ago. And they've reached the last 5 Champions League finals, successful on 3 of those occasions. Will they be successful again today? And reaching a final, over this 2 legs, I should say. Putellas out towards the left-hand side. Gwyn's going to trap the runner, Brooks. And that will bounce its way out and out for a Bayern goal kick. It's been well disciplined, really, from Bayern so far. It's very early to call that, but they're tracking the runs nicely. They're dealing with the width of Barcelona, and they're not being drawn out too aggressively so far.
Yeah, I think it's what you get quite nicely with having Gwyn and Ket, is that they've got the pace to follow the runners of the wingers, but also the boost of having Gwyn back for this one is that I think she's capable of being able to deal with Brugts.
Buell back to Mane, and that looked a little bit strong there from Mona Battier, just shrugging Buell off the ball. Barcelona in possession. Another play to the left-hand side. Here's Mape Leon. Spreading it wide to Esme Brooks. Brooks has options down the line if she can find them. Plays it short to Pina. Pina turns back and finds Putellas. Putellas now looking to penetrate. Plays it inside to Patry round the corner and back to Mappé Leon. Can they find a way through the Bayern structure across to Irene Paredes? Paredes looks wide. Here's Battier. Down the line into Hansen. He's going to knock it into Lopez, who's continued the run down the line. Back to Hansen. Lovely drop of the shoulder as she shifts it back to Lopez. Lopez back towards Hansen. Gilles comes across well, knocking it out of play. And that will be a Barcelona throw-in.
Yeah, it's good combinations on that right-hand side for Barcelona. But Bayern are doing well just to communicate and make sure that players aren't left alone.
Battier thought about the delivery, thinks better of it though. Plays it inside, and that's one back in there by Pernilla Harder. Harder to Duhlmann. Duhlmann with Gwyn overlapping. Does look to find the attacking fullback now. Gwyn doesn't like the options down the line. Opts to go backwards instead. And for the first time in this game, Bayern having a bit of spell of possession. Stanway bouncing back to Viggers-Dottir. Stanway, lovely pass round the corner into Gilia Gwyn. Gwyn now looking to go direct. That's not a bad idea. Just a little bit too much on that pass towards Harder. And it runs through to Catalina Kohl.
Yeah, positive though from Bayern Munich, getting on the ball and showing that they can, if they can move it nicely, that option to Harder may be on. Pernilla Harder, more of a poacher, but if you can get her in behind, she got the ability to finish in that Manchester United game, especially at Old Trafford, was absolutely brilliant, playing on the shoulder.
Yeah. Zato says, no pressure at all from the Bayern front line. You'd think they press Barca when in Barca's half. They're only going to engage in their own third. As soon as they start pressing aggressively, you open up gaps in midfield. And that's going to give Barcelona the space they want to attack into. Hansen looking for Battier. Good defending from Ket. Battier has committed a foul there. Was trying to get to the ball, I think, just leaning too much on Franziska Ket. And that will be a Bayern free kick.
Yeah, really good from Ket. Again, does well here just to get her body in between Battier and the ball and forces Battier to commit that foul.
In a game that is so lacking in natural left-backs, Franziska Ket is definitely making a name for herself as one of the top ones in the world.
And I think nights like these are massive for players like Ket, because putting a good performance tonight and suddenly, stick that on your credentials that you man-marked Graham Hansen out of a game for 90 minutes.
Not prime Graham Hansen, it must be said.
That is true.
Still worthy. Ball's gone long, and it's Buell into Harder. Harder looking for support, and nothing emerging quick enough. Dawn puts the pressure on. They win it high, though. Here's Ket. Now through the lines to Buell, who runs off the shoulder. Can she find Harder? She can. Harder's effort is blocked. Or is it? It looks like she's just scooped it wide. And you've got to put that on target there, Pernilla Harder. A lovely move from Bayern in the final third. Turned it over high up the pitch. Buell to Harder. And I thought that had taken a deflection of Patry Gallardo. But I think it was just a scuffed off her own leg there, Pernilla Harder. And that's a real shame. A great chance to put Catalina Kohl under pressure. And Bayern, the first good opportunity of the match.
Yeah, all came from a long ball. Marmotovic went direct and put it on top of the Barcelona centre-halves, and they didn't know how to deal with it. Really good stuff from Bayern Munich, who did well to work it back into a chance, and someone of Pernilla Harder's quality, well, you've expected her to do better in that situation. But it's positive from Bayern Munich in these opening stages.
I think she just rushes it. 7th minute of the game, just tries to get any sort of contact on the ball. I think if she is a lot more calm in that moment, she allows herself to receive the ball and opens up the body and tries to do something a little bit more technical with it. I think there was an opportunity there, but either way, that shot has to go on target early on. I think Catalina Kohl is a good goalkeeper, but you've got to test her. You've got to make her make saves early on. Amane forcing Lopez back. Barcelona putting Bayern under pressure. Pina. Tanakawa doing a good defensive job, forcing her backwards. Here's Leon. Now Patrick Gallardo, who'll carry this ball forward, tries to slot it in towards Esme Brooks, and Gwyn gets caught high. Brooks into the box, and it's brilliant from Barcelona. Eva Payot with a brilliantly technical finish. And while Harder missed a great chance up the other end, Payot, with an incredibly difficult chance, pulls off something spectacular. Brooks down the left-hand side. Gwyn gets caught too high. And Barcelona take full advantage. Tidy from Payot. And it's Bayern 0, Barcelona 1.
Brilliant goal from Ewa Payor. Does so well to get there, and it's Gwyn who gets caught out by Bruggs. Not sure where she's going, and the ball in from Bruggs is on the money, and Payor just sticks the foot out to beat Vanessa Gil to it, and that is a touch of class from Ewa Payor. Just to poke it past Marmatovic, who didn't stand a chance. Uses the pace on the ball from Bruggs. Top class from Payor, but a really sloppy goal to concede for Bayern Munich. Gilles caught flat-footed, but Giulia Gwyn gets beaten way too easily by Bruggs. I'm not really sure where she was going. I think she just completely lost the runner and gets caught out. And Barcelona punish when you make errors.
Yeah, I don't know what Gwyn is doing there. Just allows so much space inside for Bruggs to drive into. Really poor from Gwyn. And you make mistakes like that, you're going to get punished by Barcelona. So really poor. And yeah, I mean, that's exactly what we said they needed to avoid. Making some sort of stupid error like that. It gave Barcelona a ton of space to work with, and they capitalised fully.
Yeah, I think she must have thought that Bruggs was running around the outside of her, not realising that she'd actually made the run inside. And yeah, just lost her completely.
Yeah, really poor from Giulia Gwyn. It was a doubt for today's game. Did just about make it back fit to start, but yeah, not what we would have wanted to see early on here from Giulia Gwyn. And Barcelona taking the advantage. Here's Patrick Gallardo. Now Putellas. Gallardo, Putellas. Mapilleon. Knocking it out to the right-hand side. Hansen. Paredes. Hansen finding a pass forward. Here's Battier and the Payor again. Can't quite direct that one goalwards. A good control in there, but unable to get the shot away. Gil with some important defending, and Barcelona knocking on the door for a second.
Yeah, Brian, you've got to be careful because the gaps are opening up already, and we're 10 minutes into the contest.
You've got a Bayern side now that are frustrated after conceding against a Barcelona side who smell blood. And that is a dangerous combination for Bayern Munich.
They've just got to hang in. They've got to get through the next... They did well to get through the first 5 minutes without any problems. Really frustrating time to concede because Barclay's game plan would have gone out the window. He'd have been saying exactly what we... I mean, they'll still try and implement it, just a goal down, but he'd have said exactly what we were saying. Get through the first 10 minutes unscathed and then look to get into the game. And they've failed to do that in this one.
Tanakawa... Not much space to work with in there, but Bayern do make something work. Amani trying to carry the ball forwards. Now across to Stanway. Stanway trying to come inside again and no room. But her pass deflected back to Vanessa Gil. Gil goes wide into Ket. Looking for an option inside, and that not the pass she was looking for. It's going to give a foot race here between Pina and Vigersdottir. Vigersdottir knocking it out of play. And that, Barcelona forcing the error from Bayern.
Yeah, Bayern have got to realise that the space isn't inside. They're not going to be able to play the ball around in the central area because Barcelona will run all over you in that battle.
It's about knowing when to take those risks, though, isn't it? You've got to get into central areas at some point, but it's about when you do it. And some weird mistakes so far. That pass there was particularly poor. Gwyn getting dragged miles out of position for the goal. Bruggs. Pass across the back line to Paredes. And now Patrick Gallardo. Leon. With a head up looking for that forward pass. Now to Bruggs. Bruggs forced backwards by Dorman. Amane wins it back, but unable to find a pass into a teammate, and Barcelona recover possession.
Yeah, it's that retaining the ball that Bayern Munich are struggling with at the moment, and that's what kills teams against Barcelona. When if you can't retain the ball, the pressure is just endless, and that's when you end up conceding goal after goal because you just don't get any respite. They've got to find a way just to try and break up these spells of Barcelona possession.
Pass out towards the right-hand side. Here's Graham Hansen. Back now to Ona Battier. Lopez, Battier, Hansen again. Battier continuing the run down the touchline, looking to provide the width. Here's Gallardo. Now slotting it through. It's brilliant to Battier. Battier looking for a teammate, but it's cleared away well. Amani dropping into a good position. Now Buell can come the other direction. Lovely nutmeg into Harder, who looked to be dragged down there, and Paredes will be penalised for that pull on Pernilla Harder. Bayern with a free kick.
Yeah, much better from Bayern Munich. It's a brilliant pass from Patrick Guerrero, and Bayern Munich do well to track it, but then they don't just clear it. They get the ball out to Clara Buell, who can find Harder and wins a free kick, and now they're the ones with a free kick on the halfway line. Very easy just to clear your lines there, but better from Bayern there to just recycle the ball. But Barcelona, again, showing the quality they've got. What a ball that was from Gallardo. Unfortunate that the move couldn't quite work out into a shooting opportunity.
Gallardo forwards into Puteas. Tries to play it around the corner. Here's Tanikawa losing out, and Lopez now trying to come forwards. Goes back to Battier. P57391 saying Buell is just a class above, isn't she? Lovely bit of technical play there to get Bayern out of trouble. Found that pass into Harder, and Harder, excellent hold up. And Paredes just committed the foul. But yeah, they've got to get Buell on the ball more, Bayern, and in higher positions. That's where she'll have an impact. She should have had an assist, really. It's a lovely combination. Yeah. She cut it back to Harder, and Harder just made a mess of it. Barcelona throw in on the far side then. Dealing with Hansen once again. It's been a good battle so far, whilst Brug's got the better of Gilia Gwyn, which was kind of unexpected. Ket's done a really good job so far of dealing with Caroline Graham Hansen. Here's Lopez. Now Graham Hansen. Ket tracking her again well. And Caroline Graham Hansen carrying it off the field of play. Struggling once again to take on Franziska Ket. I was going to mention the attendance as well, yeah. The men's team, Bayern's men's team, of course, playing away in Mainz today. That will take a lot of supporters that have travelled there away, but also take supporters who are going to watch that game away from perhaps being that, which is why the attendance is a little bit lower than we'd like to see. Brugge now with Mappé Leon. Puteas cutting it across. It's one back by Buell, and here come Bayern Munich. Buell looking to carry down the left-hand side. Battier tracking the run well, but Buell still coming forwards. Now slotting it into Tanikawa, who's breaking into penalty area. Cuts it back now, looking for a Mane, and Brugge on hand to clear it away. Lovely. We're seeing Bayern put together some really nice combinations, breaking into Barca's penalty area, but it's just that final ball's not coming off at the moment. And that's the difference, isn't it? You know, Barca put a fairly expected ball across the box, and Payol made some magic happen. Yeah. Bayern are creating some really nice moments, but the final ball isn't there.
Yeah, exactly that. That cut back from Tanikawa was just behind Harder and in front of Amade. Just couldn't get there. But that's the second time now they've managed to get in behind Ona Battier.
Ball looking to switch the play. Brugge, though, winning it off Dorman. And Leon goes back to Catalina Cole. Now with Paredes. Into Patry. Across now to Mappé Leon. Leon's going to look to go wide. Esme Brugge holding the width nicely. Passes back inside to Alexia Puteas. Puteas and Leon both subject of a lot of speculation this week. Rumours of them both potentially going to, or London City Lionesses at least being interested in both of them. And it seems a lot more concrete with Mappé Leon than with Alexia Puteas, who is apparently still committed to Barcelona. Here is Paredes. Leon. Now to Pina. Pina back to Leon. Leon looked wide. Now going to look inside, though. It does now shift out to the left-hand side, and Brugge has space to drive into. Wants to dart inside dangerously, coming across players. Now to Payol. And they couldn't quite find the combination. And that's a very late challenge from Brugge on Clara Buell. And she will be the first player to go into the book today. Oh, Lopez, sorry. Just catching Buell there. That was a very strong challenge and felt quite unnecessary.
Yeah, got there late. Vicky Lopez, very late. And an easy yellow card for the referee. And that, again, that's good from Buell because it just takes all the pressure off. But too easy. Esme Brugge is having so much joy. And the problem is that what Ket is doing really well is she's sticking tight to Graham Hansen. And sometimes against wingers, that can cause you problems. But with Brugge and Hansen, they're most dangerous if you give them half a yard and if you give them a chance to run at you. Because Brugge's there, before anyone engages, she's already at top speed. And at that point, there's no stopping her. And she could just burst past 3 players before Tanakawa managed to get the tackle in. And that's what Gwyn's got to be tighter to, because she's letting her get up into full speed, and then suddenly you're in a stationary position. Bruggs is running at you at a top speed, you don't stand a chance of stopping her.
Yeah, absolutely. Here is Mappe Leon. And once again, Barca have just pushed Bayern back into this 4-5-1. Pina. Now Leon. Surveying her options. Gallardo. And now Paredes looking to play it wide for Hansen. Ket stands her up nicely though. Hansen gets a favourable bobble and looks to come inside. Back out wide now with Lopez, who's pulled into this wide position. Tanikawa tracks her well. And Lopez, a heavy touch, taking off the field of play. Just struggling a little bit, Vicky Lopez at the moment. Player of incredible quality, but I think frustration spoiling over. A couple heavy touches, committed a bit of a rash challenge a few moments ago. Just got to get her head in the game a little bit.
Yeah, absolutely. Not had it all her own way, and it's a very physical performance from Bayern Munich so far, and that won't be the kind of game that she wants. She can enjoy.
Run up the pitch here by Battier, now to Hansen. Gallardo. Now Putellas knocks it wide, and that's a poor pass from Alexia Putellas, which is not something we usually say, is it?
No, not at all. I have to say, Barcelona, the combinations have been strong, but I think on that right hand side, Bayern Munich are doing very well to just to halt them a little bit. And I think that conceding that goal will be very frustrating for Bayern Munich because, I mean, that's Barcelona's only shot of the game so far, is it not?
Yeah.
And I mean, to limit Barcelona to one shot in 20 minutes, you don't really hear of that very often.
Yeah, I think it'd be immensely frustrating because they're allowing Barcelona to have a lot of the ball, but Barca aren't. There's some games where Barcelona have the ball and they're just constantly breaking through the lines. When you think back to the Real Madrid game, they could have scored 10 in both matches.
Yeah.
It's not been that way so far. Bayern have really limited what Barcelona are able to do with possession. Hansen now looking to go direct, ball into the area, and Putellas registering the second shot of the game, though it was a little disingenuous to call that an attempt on goal.
Yeah, again, that's Graham Hansen's had to cross it in from that deep because if she goes any further, Ket's going to get on her and stop her doing anything, and that's where it comes from for Bayern Munich. If you force Barcelona to have possession deep in the field, they've got to try and create from there. And if Graham Hansen puts that ball in the money and Putellas somehow flicks it in the back of the net, fair enough.
Tanakawa making a bit of a mess of that one, trying to flick it over her shoulder. And ended up just getting caught in the turf. And Lopez strong again there, but was clean on Armani. Leon, now to Paredes. I think Lopez got to be a little bit careful because she's jumping into challenges quite a lot. Brooks there and able to bring that one down. It's out for a Bayern throw.
I think that's what Barcelona will be looking at, is that, yes, they've only had two shots, but they've got the ball, and bar any silly mistakes or something like a red card or anything, they should have this game in their control, and that's what they've just got to balance.
Armani to Stanway now to Ket. Ket looks wide. That's a fantastic pass down the line, and it's Buell isolated against Battier. What can she make happen? Drop of the shoulder, takes it wide, blocked by Battier, out for a Bayern corner.
Yeah, really good again from Buell. It's a lovely pass into her from Ket, and Clara Buell gets on the end of it and runs at Battier, and it's really good one-on-one defending. Surprise, surprise. From Ona Battier does well to put it out for a corner, but what a battle that is over on that far side between Buell and Battier.
And Bayern here with some sort of pre-prepared routine as Clara Buell raises her arms above her head in a cross motion. What will Bayern do here? Can they find a breakthrough from this set piece? Buell into a dangerous area. Schill's going to get there. Katina Cole comes, commits, and doesn't claim, but does get away with it. And it's cleared away by Barcelona. And now it's Pina carrying forwards. There's a foul. There's an injury here, though. And it is one of the Bayern players down there. So Cole comes out. Is that a foul on possession? She gets nowhere near the ball there, Katina Cole. And just catches Gil in the face.
I mean, you'd think that VAR would have a look at it.
They might also look, though, at Gil holding the shirt of Paredes, but it seems to be 50-50. Cole comes out, is nowhere near the ball, and catches Gil in the face. It's reckless goalkeeping, to say the least.
Yeah.
I think VAR should be having a look at this. I'd be very surprised if they're not.
Yeah.
Looking back, though, at that goal, big mistake from Gwyn. Not a lot Marmatovic could do about that.
No.
Point-blank range with pace and power and precision from Eva Payor.
I mean, it's not even like Vanessa Gilles was caught flat-footed, really. Just that Payor just nipped in front of her. You can't really predict that, and it's a brilliant finish. The match
You can't let Brooks put a ball into the box unopposed. Gwyn just got caught out. Just keepers get away with anything nowadays. Yeah, that was a bit of an odd one because she just came flying out there with little regard, seemingly, for anything else. And I think is a little bit lucky that this doesn't seem to be being checked by VAR. We haven't had any indication that VAR is having a look.
No, they'd probably had a quick. I think the argument would be is that Gilles was never really going to get to the ball.
I don't think that means you can punch players in the face.
No. It's an awkward one. Because she's tussling with Paredes as well. I think, yeah, you see those clear-cut ones where the keeper comes for it, misses it, and just catches the striker, but it ended up being a bit of a mess of bodies, but there was definitely a clear hand to the face.
So it just says, I have no confidence in UEFA. They called Makara's goal offside and let McCabe get away without a red. Yeah, I mean, I think VAR can be useful, but we've not actually had any correct decisions.
No. I mean, Lindsay Heaps got taken out in the penalty area against Wolfsburg and nothing. They didn't even look at it.
That's what confuses me. Like, how do you look at some of these big decisions and not come to the same decision?
Yeah.
Or not come to what I believe is the correct decision. But that one I think is a little bit more subjective.
Oh, yeah.
Ball in from Pina. And away well by Viggers Dottir. It's also the kind of thing we don't want to see given as a penalty, but by the letter of the law, Cole doesn't get any of the ball.
Yeah.
Gilles re-enters the fray in dramatic fashion, winning back possession. And that will be a Bayern throw-in. And, Pere Romeu, I'm not sure what he was doing there, but he's not best pleased for something.
I don't think he's happy that Vanessa Gilles was allowed to come back on and just tackle his team, but where did they want her? Because she came from behind them and caught them out, but I'm not really sure where he wants her to come from.
Yeah.
Like, she's not going to run around the back.
Got to run and become a defender.
Yeah.
I think his point was that they weren't expecting it, so they lost possession, but it's football.
You're an extra player anyway, should have used it.
Battier. Now Gallardo. Paredes. Here is Putellas. Leon. Now it's with Pina. Pina poking forwards. Payor won't get there. Gilles makes a bit of a mess of it. And now Stanway trying to drive it out of her own penalty area is a little bit risky, but they do get away with it. Tanikawa touching it forward. And Mane now trying to find Clara Buell. Buell's going to get there. Can't quite hold it up. And Paredes slashing it away with conviction. Out for a Bayern throw.
I mean, it got there for Bayern Munich. It's one of those where if they try and play like that, then sometimes they will get out. Sometimes they'll give it away and end up conceding a good chance.
But I guess that, that's the risk versus reward of trying to penetrate in those central areas, is if you do get the ball through, there's a great chance that you're going to open up the space.
Yeah.
It's then whether or not you can use that, especially with how wide and how high Barca like to use their fullbacks. But Brooks is pretty much a winger, and Bete often gets high to support, and you're isolating them, Mappe, Leon, and Paredes. And in their day, both incredibly quick. Leon's still a very quick defender, but there is that pace advantage over Paredes. If you can get Buell in behind there, I think there is joy to be had.
Yeah.
Flick on from Harder looking for Buell. It's just behind her, and Paredes wins back possession. Battier under pressure. Tanikawa wants to press aggressively now. Here is Gallardo, and she'll lift it out towards the left to the right-hand side. Hansen gets away from Ket. Here's Lopez in that physical tussle, and Mane with a fantastic tackle there, and knocks the ball out of play for a Barcelona throw-in.
You just think Barcelona go back to Catalina Cole. You think, Bayern are hounding them here. And then Patrick Gallardo just comes up with a lovely lofted pass and takes 4 players out of the game.
Yeah, just drops, receive it. Lovely little pass around the shoulder. Brilliant stuff to play out of the press. Here is Leon. And that's the kind of thing that you can't coach necessarily. You can't just tell any player to do that. You have to have players that are so press resistant. They just have that understanding of space and that ball manipulation to play passes like that perfectly. Gilles lifting out to the left-hand side, and great knock into Clara Buell. Buell now wants to take on Battier again. Waiting for support, knocks it down the line. Here's Pernilla Harder. Now on to Tanakawa, who cuts it back. It bounds around the area, and they're adamant, Bayern, that there was a handball in there. Now Stanway on the edge. It's blocked away, and Harder continuing her complaints, and Dorman there committing the foul and stopping Pina from progressing. I'd like to see another replay of this because Pernilla Harder looked adamant whether it was just an optimistic call towards the referee or whether there was something concrete here. Let's have a look. And of course, we've been shown the worst possible replay of it.
Harder seemed to be the only one that was really convinced. Let's have another look here. So off the back.
Kicks up off the leg and hits the hand of Paredes.
I mean,
is that enough to give a penalty? Apparently not.
I mean, we've seen them given in the Champions League this season. It ricochet. I think, again, it would be very harsh, and it does ricochet off Leon, which I think maybe the saving factor. But we've seen them given.
That's the thing where common sense should be applied.
Yeah.
But the problem is that too often it isn't.
Mm.
So then you get inconsistency of decision because that's not a penalty.
No.
In the spirit of the rules, that's not a penalty. But by the letter of the law and the way we've seen it applied in the past, that should be.
Yeah.
So that's where the inconsistency comes with officiating. But for me, I mean, it's not a penalty. It doesn't feel like a penalty, does it? There's no intention there to play the ball with the arm. It doesn't stop anyone receiving the ball for Bayern Munich. So yeah, no issues with that. Here is Leon. But again, if moments like that hadn't been given earlier in the tournament, we wouldn't even be talking.
No.
Leon, Paredes, back to Leon, back to Paredes. And Bayern are now playing out, and you do get the sense Barca are just trying to open up that space. Gallardo trying to lift it to the right-hand side. That not quite so exquisite a pass.
No. And again, that is... I think Bayern Munich have done very well in the last 5-10 minutes just to do exactly what I said they need to do, which is find ways just to break up the Barcelona possession.
Great knock from Gallardo to the left-hand side, and Brooks finding space once more to drive into. Knocks it down the line. Payor runs off the shoulder. Gwyn sticks with her. Payor now coming inside. No room to work with, and Tanakawa getting it clear. Harder can't get it under her control, and it will be a Barcelona ball. Cole recycling it quickly. Leon now looking to lift it in behind. Brooks nods down. Here is Pina. Dorman getting back in. Trying to stand him up and clears it away as Brooks tries something a little bit innovative.
Someone for Bayern Munich's got to get a handle on Esme Brooks. Because she's the one, that is the biggest threat at the moment for Barcelona. Because Brooks has got the space and got the time. And no one seems to be able to handle her for Bayern.
Gallardo. Pass inside now from Puteas to Pina to Brooks. Looking for support. Let's fly, and it's straight down the throat of Marmatovic. Adjusts across quickly and is able to save the effort.
Yeah, well watched by Marmatovic, but again, it's Brooks on the ball, causing problems, and she's just allowed to give herself half a yard here in between Tanakawa and Stanway, and does get the shot off, even if it was saved. But yeah, better from Barcelona.
I mean, they're going to keep looking at this decision. It hits the arm of Paredes. You can see why Harder calls for it, but it doesn't stop Harder getting the ball.
No.
Which, I don't think that is the rule, but that's what I would have as the rule.
Yeah.
Battier. On the right-hand side, wanting to receive it. Paredes, though, thinking better of it. Plays it to Gallardo. Out towards the right-hand side. Hansen touches back. Into Lopez. Now with Battier. Battier. Back to Patry. And now Paredes. Lopez. Patry lifting it over the top. And what can Lopez do in this position? Buell tries to stick with her. Running it out of play. That will be a Bayern goal kick.
Yeah, Buell there, just keeping the pressure on her shoulder. And Lopez running out of play. Not enjoyed a brilliant first half an hour here as Vicky Lopez. Just struggled to really get into the game. But if she's a player that if she can get on the ball and find some space, could be a massive threat.
Marmatovic sending it long. And now back to Catalina Cole. Locus says, would you buy Brooks? For who? I mean, pretty much any team, yes, but it's not going to happen.
No.
Clearly, a key part of this Barcelona system fills that role that Fridley and Rolfo was so good at, playing at left back, but pretty much functioning in attack as a left winger.
Yeah.
That kind of role is very difficult to fulfill. I think it's what Chelsea did very successfully with Sonny Baltimore last season. It's what hasn't worked at all with Sonny Baltimore this season. So you need a very special type of player. It also helps that I don't think Brooks could play that role in a different league. But for a different team, when Barcelona do have, I mean, in this game, 80% possession, most games you're looking at 70, 80% possession.
Yeah.
When you are so ball dominant, it doesn't matter if your left back isn't the best defensively.
Yeah.
So Barca need another attacker in that position, pretty much. They've only got 2 very defensive players, perhaps 3 if you count Gayara, but even then, I mean, she's good, really good with the ball.
Yeah.
But Bate wants to get forward. Bruggs wants to get forward. So yeah, I think those players are fantastic, but would they work as well in other leagues? It's difficult to say.
Yeah. Ket is winning that battle on the other side. It's all about Brooks on the left, but Ket is keeping Graham Hansen quiet.
I mean, I think that's a much more realistic target. If you are a top European, if you're a WSL club, for example, I think Francisca Ket is a much better example of I think would be the perfect left back target.
Yeah.
Carrying the ball forwards now, looking to be dangerous. Can she find a teammate? Right sort of position. I think just trying to go for goal herself there. It was a half shot, half cross. Either way, Catalina Cole, no issue claiming.
Yeah, don't mind that. Felt the pressure kind of ran out of options and was looking just to find that bottom right corner, but would have taken something special to beat Ket from there. To beat Cole from there.
Don John says, can Barca win without Bonmati? Yeah. They're a team of world-class players. They can win with Bonmati. They can win without Bonmati. They can lose with Bonmati. That's the nature of football. But I think it makes their job harder. I think in terms of having that metronomic presence, in terms of having someone that can make something happen out of absolutely nothing, I think they've still got magical players and some really efficient attackers. But do they have anyone with that sort of technical ability that's just higher than anyone else?
Yeah.
No. And that's what you lose with Bonmati. I think also the biggest loss of Bonmati is the change then in Putellas' role. Because Putellas dropped a little bit deeper to play that Bonmati role, and instead you have Lopez and sort of working in between the lines. And Lopez is an incredible player, and I think will be one of the best in the world. But Putellas just gives you something a little bit different in that kind of role, which is someone who is really experienced, someone who's a really good shot taker, someone who is going to make more penetrative runs and drop deep to receive in a bit better. She's just world class. So you do just lose a little bit of Putellas' end product when she's playing a little bit deeper. Brooks looks to come inside, back to Leon. Hermie says you can see why Bonmati won the Ballon d'Or. She's clearly missed by both Spain and Barcelona. Yeah, but I don't think there's any doubting Bonmati is the best player in the world. But the Ballon d'Or defines who the best player in the world was that year. And I don't think it was Bonmati last year by the simple fact that she didn't win the Champions League or the Euros. But yeah, there's no doubting Bonmati is the best player in the world right now. Vigostotti, great defending, knocks that ball out of the penalty area.
Yeah, again, box defending is in pretty sharp for Bayern Munich in the first 36 minutes. Barcelona will want to try and get a second before half-time.
Ball release to the left-hand side, and Buell will give chase. Battier stands it up well and does manage to play out of that pressure. Brilliant stuff from Mona Battier. Now Lopez. Back to Battier. Handsome. Here is Patrick Guerrero. Plays out to the right-hand side, pass through the lines. And Tanikawa cuts it out well.
Again, really good. Really good from Harder. Won another foul up against Paredes, because what she's doing, a lot of strikers try and ride the challenge, and that allows Paredes and Leon just to get away with being a bit more physical. But what Harder's doing is she's just standing there and waiting for the contact to come. She's not backing into Paredes. She's not making it a 50-50. She knows that foul is going to come because of how aggressive those Barcelona defenders are, and she's just allowing Paredes to come thump into the back of her.
Great to see there, Bayern youngster Lennart Karl in attendance, a player of the men's team. Of course, the men's team involved in action today. But I believe Carly's out injured, so great to see him supporting the women's side. Ball into the box now. It's cleared away. And wonderful for Vigors-Dottir. Gwyn. Dorman. Lovely footwork now to create the angle for the cross. Dorman. Into Stanway. Dorman. Playing it into Gilles. Gilles. Lovely flick from Gilia Gwyn into Dorman. Here come Bayern. Can they make something happen in the final third? Dorman through to Gwyn. As Gwyn stayed on side. The cross is blocked. It's a corner for Bayern Munich.
Yeah, again, really good football from Bayern Munich. Dorman just waiting patiently for something to happen, and she gets her opportunity. And they work it well. Gwyn makes a nice run, and it's good recovering from Bruggs to get the challenge in to block the cross. But another corner for Bayern Munich. And they looked somewhat dangerous in the first one. Can this one also be on the money?
That's what we'll have to see. Buell, not the best delivery, and that's cleared away. I think corners are a real source of chances today for Bayern. I don't think Katarina Cole is particularly good in the air. I think she often rushes out. I mean, we saw the first one. Just rushes out rashly and isn't the biggest goalkeeper.
Yeah.
Here's Dorman, looks to cut inside. A freakishly good challenge from Mape Leon. He uses her full frame there to get to the ball and cut it out. Fantastic tackle. And Barcelona now can play out. One back high, though, by Armani. And it's one back by Pina, and that is pulled back for a foul. Armani a little bit fortunate there, do you think, Harry?
Yeah, I think Pina is very unlucky. Referee saying that Dorman just got caught on the calf. And I don't think she did, to be honest. I think Pina's...
No.
I think that's a fair challenge.
I think she does well to buy the foul, but I absolutely agree. I don't think Pina's done anything wrong there. I think she might get booked for kicking the ball away. But I don't think she did anything wrong with the initial one.
No. And well, yeah, this is going to give Bayern Munich an opportunity and Buell a chance to whip this in and put Barcelona under more pressure.
They don't want to compete, but they need a goal.
Yeah.
Frankly, they have to get a goal soon. Clara Buell over this then. What can she make happen from this dead ball situation? And well, the Allianz just seems to have stood up and took notice. Ball in towards the back post. Katina Cole comes and gets something on it. Has she caught Gilles again there, though? I think is the question. It's cleared away well by Barcelona, but surely VAR will take a look at this. Apparently not. There weren't too many complaints, to be fair. And it did seem that she got some contact with the ball.
It's another one where you got Buell's put into a good area. Cole's come a long way, and Bayern Munich shirts are flooding in. All it takes is one moment where a Bayern player beats her to it, and they're suddenly heading into an empty net.
Yeah, or Katina Cole's conceding a penalty because she's misjudged it. Tanaka out to the left-hand side. So much space here for Ket to work with. Can she take players on? Cuts inside. Francisco Ket. Wow. What a save. Catalina Cole gets across the face of her goal and denies Ket brilliantly. Great drive inside from the left-back there. Struck with her weak foot, but got Venom behind it. Caught Battier flat-footed. Paredes couldn't stand her up, but Catalina Cole on hand to spare their blushes. Brilliant stop from the Barca keeper. Gets across the frame of that goal so incredibly well. And parries a shot wide.
Ridiculously good from Cole. Gets two hands to it as well. Brilliant from Cole. And Bayern Munich haven't had much of the ball, but when they have had it, they've used it brilliantly. More attempts in this game now than Barcelona.
Buell in the area. There's a floater. I'll try and keep it alive now with Vanessa Gilles. He's going to lift it back out to Clara Buell. That's the right idea. A little bit too much on the ball, but Buell will get there. That's fantastic from Clara Buell, who then goes inside and back out into the box. And how on earth have Bayern not found a route to goal there? A great delivery, and somehow Katina Cole's the one who emerged with the ball in her hands.
Yes, a great claim from Cole, but someone should have just drifted in front of her there and stuck it in. It's Tanakawa who was running towards it and just couldn't get there in time.
There was a moment there where she could have burst towards the front post. And instead, she rolled Gallardo and went in between the two I think that just stopped her getting there.
Yeah.
Should have just burst towards the front post and nod it across goal. Bayern with a great chance. And they're really putting the pressure on Barcelona. 4 shots apiece in this game, 2 on target each. Ultimately, a moment of magic from Eva Payor, the only difference maker so far. Bayern a little bit wasteful, but they're absolutely matching Barcelona at the moment. Here's Ket. Puts the ball into the area. Paredes just about getting something on it. Gwyn now carrying the ball inside. And Barca on the back foot. Armani, Dorman. Lovely little lift over the top. It's headed away by Leon. Puteas gets it clear. Dorman tries to keep it alive. Lopez looping it away. And now Payor battles off Stanway and she'll carry forwards. Dorman could commit the tactical foul. Payor's still coming though. Out to the right-hand side. Here's Hansen. Lifts the ball in towards the back post. Pina tries to get there and can't quite keep it under her control. And that will be a Bayern goal kick.
Yeah, I think an informed Claudia Pina plucks out the air and smashes it past Marmatovic. But yeah, just couldn't quite get there. But Bayern Munich be really annoyed they haven't managed to equalise in this spell. It's been a strong last 5 to 10 minutes for them. But they haven't managed to level the score, and that will be a point of frustration.
Yeah, indeed. And so Marmitovic sending it out towards the left-hand side. Here's Franziska Ket. Carries it inside now. Back to Momoko Tanikawa. Wide with Clara Buell. And now Pernilla Harder. Harder, lovely footwork. What knocks it wide? Here is Buell. Needs to wait ready for Harder to get back in the box. Ket now lifts it in there. And it's Tanikawa who brings it down but slips and can't react to the second ball. And now Barca come away with possession. So many nearly moments for Bayern in this first half. Barcelona have got to be wary of that. But I think Bayern have got to take immense belief from it. They've played really well in this game. Outside of a big mistake from Gwyn, this game would be level. Great contest so far. 2 sides playing really at the top of their game.
Yeah.
Mappy Leon knocks it across the back line to Paredes. Paredes wants to be a little bit more direct. Here's Pina. Receives it well and now looks to dart inside. Positive touches from Claudia Pina. Lifts it into the area. Ket will get there and clears it. And importantly, clearing it out for a throw rather than a corner.
Yeah, again, really good defending from Ket at the back post. It's Gwyn, the one struggling on this near side. Pina and Bruggs are getting the time and the space to put deliveries into the box and cause problems.
Lopez running it out of play again there.
Yeah, her and Graham Hansen out on that right-hand side and not having the same joy as the players on this left-hand side.
They've not combined particularly well.
No. They've got less room than the likes of Bruggs and that do, but and Ket is having a much better performance, but yeah, it's just not come together between those two at the moment.
Lopez now though on the ball. Finds Payor down the line. Lopez. Payor being pushed backwards. Gil there deemed to have been too aggressive. That will be a Barcelona free kick.
Yeah, Gil had her all the way there. And again, this is going to give Barcelona a chance to end the half by looping this ball into the box.
So, Barcelona with the free kick. What can they make happen? A goal now would really take the wind out of Bayern's sails. They've competed very closely with Barcelona. This would be, I think, a hugely important goal in the context of the tie. Delivered by Caroline Graham Hansen on top of Marmitovic. Great claim for the Bayern keeper, who is then fouled in the aftermath by Paredes.
Yeah, really good goalkeeping from Marmitovic. Knows that Paredes is coming into it and just gets up, claims it, and takes the contact on board. Yeah, definite foul. Paredes getting their second best. And a Bayern doing well to avoid conceding on the stroke at half-time.
So that is the half-time whistle here at the Allianz Arena. Bayern Munich 0, Barcelona 1. Eva Payor's goal in the 8th minute, the only difference maker thus far. Chances at both ends Bayern unable to take theirs. Barca taking their opportunity. That the biggest difference maker in this first half. But it has been a close matchup between two very good sides.
Yeah, really good watch. Exactly what you want to see from a Champions League semi-final. Two sides going toe-to-toe. And although Barcelona have had the majority of the possession, that doesn't speak for the momentum and the chances that both sides had in that first 45 minutes. A moment of magic, the only thing to separate the two teams. So yeah, from a neutral point of view, exactly what we wanted to see from this semi-final. Two sides, playing very, very good stuff. Bayern Munich at the top of their level. Barcelona somewhat near there as well. So yeah, exactly what we're expecting, and it's been a really good 45 minutes of football.
Yeah, I think Bayern have had more joy coming forwards. I think Barcelona's joy has been all down the left-hand side, and we saw that with the early goal, because what they've been able to do so effectively, and this is where, Hansen and Lopez haven't been able to penetrate particularly well or create much. But what they have been able to do really effectively is draw players across to Bayern's left-hand side, shift Bayern across, move the ball into central areas, and then Bayern have got the players who can provide those switches really quickly. And we've seen them been able to move the ball from the right-hand side to the left really effectively, stretch the Bayern back line, and they're finding space down the left-hand side. Brugge's has been holding the width really effectively. She's finding space to attack into. Pina in there is able to push inside, and that creates a bit of tension really for Guilherme. Does she go and pull out wide and leave Pina? Does she drop in for Pina and leave Brugge's? That's where we've seen that difficulty really, because Dawn wants to tuck in from that right wing to be able to be very narrow, very compact, so she can't go out and deal with Brugge's either. So they're just doing really well at the moment to stretch them when they do come forwards. Where they're struggling though is actually penetrating in central areas, which is where most of their penetration, most of their shot, and most of their chance creation comes from. They love to play into those central areas, into that zone 14, get shots away from those kind of positions. But what Bayern have done really effectively is utilise a 4-5-1, have a very narrow midfield, and pack out those central areas. The defenders have been given a licence to be a little bit more aggressive, step in front of play or step onto the midfielders. The midfield have been very disciplined, but also because they've got three in there, they can often let one player push forwards and the other two then cover. And Barca are often dropping players out of the midfield to try and drag out Bayern and then create space, leave space in central areas to then play into. But Bayern aren't getting drawn out and then not leaving space in midfield. So I think Bayern's midfield has been what has kept them alive in this game so far. Ket's had a fantastic individual game at left back. She's won those duels every time. And that is stopping Barca from being able to attack on both flanks. But Barca are still finding a lot of joy down the left-hand side. But Bayern have still come forward really effectively. It's been a really good, even matchup. Both sides have had opportunities. We look at the base stats there. 4 shots apiece. 3 on target from Bayern. 2 on target from Barcelona. But Bayern haven't really... They've not tested Catalina Cole enough, have they, Harry?
Yeah, it's exactly that. I think they'll be frustrated. 3 shots on target, but they should have done better with quite a few of them. And the one off target from Harder really should have hit the back of the net, if not forced a good save out of Catalina Cole. And they will be frustrated that they haven't managed to level this game up. Obviously, frustrating to score early, but the reaction was really, really strong. And they did get on the front foot, and especially towards the end of that first half, they were they were the side on top. They had the momentum, and the fact they didn't score from it will be a point of frustration. Ket's effort forced a fantastic save out of Catalina Cole, and that effort beats most goalkeepers, and it's very unfortunate that you're coming up against a goalkeeper with the elite abilities of Catalina Cole to pull off a save like that, because if that's what that should have been 1-1 really, and then it's a different game. So yeah, the Bayern will be frustrated that they haven't managed to punish and to test Catalina Cole. But I mean, 4 shots, 3 on target. It looks good on paper, but they should have done better with those efforts. I mean, it's harsh, because to limit Barcelona to 4 shots and still concede. I mean, when was the last time Barcelona were limited to 4 shots in 45 minutes of football? That is extremely low for their standards. So Bayern will be very frustrated that you look at those stats and they still find themselves a goal behind.
Yeah, I think that's the natural though, isn't it? You've got to force Barca into having low opportunities. I think as soon as they have those high volume chances, as soon as they're finding a lot of success in penetrating, that's when you have the problem. I think what Bayern can look at with a bit of belief is the fact that normally you'd look at Barcelona and you think, well, second half, yes, you've just got to do the same thing, but eventually you're going to tire, and Barca have got options off the bench. But to be honest, yes, Barcelona still have some very talented players. Paraguay can come on and try and stretch the back line. I think Sarriota could come on and they can push Putellas higher. Schertenleib really technically gifted, but I think is very raw still. Similar feeling for me around someone like a Yulia, someone like a Kamara. They're not going to come on and change the game. Kika Nazarov is definitely someone who can, but does she offer much different to what they've got? Not really. So they don't have the sort of explosivity off the bench that perhaps you would expect with Barcelona. Whereas I do look at Bayern, I look at some options they've got there. Barbara Duntz coming into midfield, or Ariana Caruso coming into midfield. Imade, I think, could be a huge presence up front if they need her. So they've got options there that could change the game. So that's something they'll look to towards the end of this game, which could give them something and potentially get something out of this game. But yeah, it's been a fascinating tactical contest. What happens now is going to be the real test. I don't think Perry Romeo changes much, and that is where I think Barcola has a chance. Because we've not seen much tactical flexibility or adaptability in matches from Romeu. We've not seen much evolution. The structure is very... I don't like using the word simple, but it's not overly complex. And that is not bad coaching. That works Barcelona. Give the players the freedom. But it does mean in games like this where they've not had it all their own way, it's harder to shift something and make something work now and alter how you're playing. But that fluidity is often to Barca's benefit. I think that's exactly why they got that opening goal. But I think Bayern have done really well. They've limited Barca effectively. They had opportunities. They could have got a goal in the first half themselves.
Yeah, absolutely. I think that they've got to be pleased with the fact they're in the game. And I know that sounds silly because it's 45 minutes into a two-legged affair, and it is a semi-final. But how many times have we seen Barcelona turn up and within the first 45 minutes of the first leg end up winning the tie? That's what they did against Real Madrid. It's what they do year after year. It's 1-0, but also the performance has been there. It's not like it's 1-0 and Bayern Munich have hung on for dear life. They'll back themselves to get a result, and if they walk away with a 1-1 draw here, or even if it was to stay the same, then it's still competitive going to the new camp. And again, that's not something that many sides can say against Barcelona, is that after the first leg, they're still in the contest and really in the contest.
That's what they've got to fight for. And let's talk about Eva Payor, because an incredible goal from an incredible player. Her season so far has been ridiculous. Not quite the outrageous numbers of last season, but has had some injuries, and still 27 goals in 34 games is not a return to be sniffed at. When you come off the back of the season where he scored 43 and 46, it does look slightly diminished, but still has been incredibly good in front of goal. What we saw on display here is an incredible shot selection, an incredible technique, and a really tidy finish from a player on a top game.
Yeah, absolutely. That is so easy. I think that it cannot be underrated, that finish. I think it is so easy there to come across it and just blast it over the bar. The ball's got pace on it. So if Payor tries to go for pace there and puts power behind it, that is going sailing into the second row of the Allianz. But she does so well to read the fact that the ball has pace in it for Bruggs, and all she needs to do is just direct it into that far corner, and she does it perfectly. And as you say, that is the experience and quality of a top striker. Because there are not many strikers who can do that. A lot of players would have just blasted that over the bar or put it wide at the front post, but she does so well just to guide it into that far corner, use the pace already on the cross, and just flash it across goal. And Marmatovic didn't stand a chance. Pure class from Payor.
I think she's really stepped up in the big moments. One of my big criticisms of her last season is that while the numbers and the consistency was there, of her Champions League goals, 7 last season in the Champions League, only 2 came in the knockouts. And that for me was the point where, it's still a good return. I'm not doubting that at all. But she wasn't scoring in every game. She wasn't the main outlet for Barcelona in every game. But she's been electric so far in the knockouts. Already 3 goals in this year's competition in the knockouts alone. That takes her tally to 8 for the campaign, tying her, I believe, with Alessia Russo as it stands. Alessia Russo to play tomorrow. And I think she's stepped up really into the mould of the out-and-out forward. Like, she's played less in the league, and they've been less reliant on her in the league. And that's why the raw numbers aren't quite as high. Last season, 43 was never going to be sustainable over another season. And I think Barcelona have prioritised, especially with less options, prioritised playing her in the Champions League. And perhaps that's why they've had some results in the Liga F that haven't been quite as favourable. But, they've still walked it by an absolute canter. But I think Payor's really stepped up in those big moments. I think that the technique on that goal is ridiculously good. Her ability to manipulate the ball in that way. Bruggs' run as well deserves a lot of credit. We spoke a lot about how Gwyn gets caught out in that moment really poorly. But Brooks' ability to dart inside quickly, realise that Gwyn's going the wrong way and won't be able to adjust, receive that pass, play a good cross in, and obviously Payor converts it. Really good stuff. But yeah, just wanted to say on Payor, I thought she's really stepped her game up, providing in the big moments for Barcelona.
Yeah, and it's massive because, you know, if she doesn't do that, then suddenly this game is level, and you know, it's a very different context of the game, and that's what you need, especially when you've got players like Bonmati missing. You need players like Payor to step up in these big moments and be the difference makers. There's a very reasonable chance that this game finishes 1-0, and suddenly we walk out of this 90 minutes and we say, well, it was two evenly matched side, but Ava Payor's quality made the difference, and for her to be in that bracket just is a testament to the ability and the progression that she's made to develop herself as an elite game changer.
Let's talk about Bayern coming forwards then, because we've seen them look quite threatening at times. 4 shots, though. Have they done enough with the ball? They've got in some really nice positions. There have been a few times where what they've done really effectively is hold the ball up, wait for that penetrating run, sort of between players, and breaking lines that way to then look for cutbacks. But have they done enough when they've got into the final third? They've got into the final third a couple of times. Have they done enough to threaten Barcelona?
I think they'd have liked to have done more. As you say, I think that the penetrating runs and passes have actually been good, and they've managed to get in behind. But once they've got there, they've managed to find a way to mess it up. You know, we've seen the overlap of Ket, or we've seen Buell get past Battier, Dahlman and Gwyn as well had one where they combined quite nicely. And then once they get in there, that cross doesn't quite find a player, or it's put into a good area and someone doesn't get there and it's wasted. And that's the wrong way around. Usually its sides struggle to find a way to get into those positions, but they're taking up fantastic positions and just not making an advantage of it. You know, these crosses are somehow not being got onto the end of. All it takes is, especially since the delivery's been so good, it just feels if someone makes any contact with it, it's going to go on target. So yeah, I think that'll be the point of frustration, is that they've actually managed to get in behind Barcelona and you know, get themselves some space. I mean, that harder chance early on, she was left unmarked on the edge of the 6-yard box. You don't get, that's got to hit the target, and it's chances like that they'll be frustrated by, where they've worked themselves into space, they've worked themselves into good shooting opportunities, but somehow the ball hasn't even ended up hitting the target.
Yeah, I think it's been a good team performance from Bayern, but a couple of players that have really stood out to me. Amani, I think, has adjusted really quickly to the Champions League. I think she's a player who looks immensely comfortable on the ball, has a great reading of the game, really good ball carrying as well as being technically gifted, great at breaking up opposition attacks as well. So she's been really important. Clara Buell, technically excellent, brilliant at driving inside, always a threat in possession. The player for me that I really want to pick out was Franziska Ket. Yeah. I think I make a really strong point for her being player of the match so far. Shut down Hansen really effectively, but not just her defensive display. She's got into attacking areas really effectively. She's carried the ball forwards really well. And cut inside and had that shot that forced a fantastic stop out of Catalina Cole. What have you made of Ket's showing?
Yeah, she's been absolutely brilliant. I think that again, I mentioned it at the start, but this is an opportunity for players to step up and really cement themselves into the elite bracket. And I think that Ket has had a superb 45 minutes, as you say, shutting out one of the best wingers in the world on her day, in Caroline Graham Hansen. Admittedly, we haven't seen her on a day for a while now, but yeah, a brilliant defensive job. But it's the fact that she's also been able to contribute and get up the pitch that is vitally important, because we can see in these games that fullbacks they can have a brilliant defensive game, but they end up getting bogged down. But Ket has done very well to not only be superb defensively and have that discipline, but also get up, support Clara Buell, and get herself into some really good crossing and shooting opportunities.
Yeah, indeed. Well, players re-emerging for the second half then. Doesn't appear to be any immediate changes, which I think makes sense. I wasn't expecting to see either side change much. I don't think either side would be too displeased with how they performed in that first half. I think if we were going to see changes, Barca, I wouldn't be surprised if they brought on someone. I think trust Clara Serraiode. From what I've seen, really talented footballer. I think you can bring her on and push Putellas higher and take Lopez out. I love Vicky Lopez, and this is a brilliant player, but she's on a yellow card. I think the occasion's got to a little bit.
Yeah.
And I just think pushing Putellas into that higher role is going to give you more of an outlet to aim for, more of someone who will get in zone 14, get shots away. I think Serraiode can do what Putellas is doing in terms of being able to recycle the ball, in terms of being able to try and find those passes through the lines. I think Serraiode, you can trust in that kind of role.
Yeah, absolutely. I think that, she's emerged this season as a top player, and the way that she has managed to adjust to the level, not only in the Liga F but also on the European stage, is a testament to the ability that she's got. So even as a young player, absolutely, I think you can trust her enough to throw her into this game and for her to fit in seamlessly.
What's Barker then got up his sleeve? Has he got... I mean, we saw how effectively Bayern turned the game around against Arsenal earlier in the season, 2-0 down, came back to win that 3-2. What has he got up his sleeve to transform this game? Can he find a way of breaking Barca down? And does Romeu then have anything to respond? We haven't seen much flexibility from him in games. If Bayern can change the way they're playing, can they force Barca into a sticky situation? Let's wait and find out. We're about to get back underway here at the Allianz Arena. Barca leading by a goal to nil. Can Bayern come back in this home leg, or will Barcelona take the advantage back to their home ground next weekend? It will be Barcelona to get us back underway in this second half as the fans clap through the countdown. We are back underway in this match. Barcelona in possession, looking to cement their 1-goal advantage. Bayern looking for a way back into the contest. Here is Leon. Searching for the forward pass across to Paredes. Bounces it off Patry. And now out to the left-hand side. Bruggs touching down to Putellas. Pina around the corner and out of play for a Bayern throw.
Yeah, very important that Bayern Munich pick up where they left off in that first half. Can't afford to start the second half slowly and invite Barcelona to nick a second goal. Got to be a fast and solid start from Bayern.
Vigers sending the ball forwards. Headed away well by Leon. Now it's with Brooks, who's dispossessed. Harder holds it up well. Tanikawa out towards the left-hand side. And here's Gilles. Knocking it up the line. Cat. Carrying it forwards. Knocks it inside. Here's Stanway. Trying to knock it back out towards Clara Buell. A little bit too much on that. Buell dropping in. And Stanway wanted her to go in behind. So out for a Bayern throw-in. And, well, for a Barca throw-in, can Bayern put them under pressure here. Battier surveying her options. I think faking the play inside. Does go to Lopez. Hansen losing possession. Armani. Vigers to Stanway. Trying to find a way through Gwyn. Back to Vigers. Just going to lift it over the top, looking for Clara Buell. Buell brings it down brilliantly, has Ket in support, plays it back to Tanikawa. Now to Buell, through the lines. Here's Armani, carrying it into the Barcelona box. Tries to shoot from a rogue angle. And, well, was nowhere near the goal in the end.
I mean, I can only assume that she's kind of lost her bearings there.
Don't think looked up at all, did she?
No. I think if she'd looked up, she'd have realised she was a lot wider than she thought she was, going for goal. And, yeah, I mean, well, never going to find the back of the net from there.
But I don't mind it if that comes off Paredes out for a corner.
Yeah.
She's made something happen from a position where there's not a lot on. But just gets it all wrong. And they win it high again here, Bayern. They're going to come down the right-hand side with Gwyn. Blocked well by Brooks. Falls for Dullman, who holds on to it. But it's a good challenge to win it back in there. Now Pina. Leon. Paredes out towards the right-hand side. Battier. Now Lopez. Hansen pulling wide. Gallardo. Now wide into Caroline Graham. Hansen back into Ona Battier. Lifting it over the top for Vicky Lopez. Lopez looking for the ball into the box. Over everyone will fall for Esme Brooks. Can she get the shot away? Brooks now off the post. And just about Bayern getting away with that one. Marmutovic pushing it away. And now Bayern coming forwards. Pernilla Harder knocks it in behind. Buell in the foot race with Battier. Buell does brilliantly to hold on to the ball. Can she take on Ona Battier? Looking to go around her. Holds it up well. Now finds the edge of the box with Georgia Stanway. Can she get the shot away? Stanway wriggles into the penalty area. Back to Clara Buell. Buell into the area. Blocked away. And now Pina will carry it to safety. Armani winning it high though brilliantly. Here's Buell. A little bit of a messy exchange that's cleared long. And Bayern back in possession. The ref happy just to let the game run. Yeah. It's great to see.
chaotic couple of minutes.
Gil to Tanikawa. Lovely drop of the shoulder before going back into Ket. Tanikawa goes wide. Ket goes backwards. Here is Vigors-Dottir. Now to Buell in the half space. Finds Amani. Stanway operating as this pivot player. Now with Gil. And a pass round the corner into Dorman, who's peeled wide to receive. Now into Tanikawa. This is lovely football from Bayern Munich. Tanikawa back to Dorman, back to Tanikawa. Lovely exchange again, lifting it over the top. Just a little bit too ambitious that from Tanikawa. That was beautiful though from Bayern Munich. Some lovely exchanges. Just couldn't find that final ball again.
Yeah, moving it really nicely. Did well. Bruggs having a shot, cannoning off the post, bouncing free. And then Bayern did well to then turn it and yeah, moved it really nicely. Just couldn't fashion an opportunity. But Buell and Stanway were wriggling through bodies at points in that move. Just couldn't find a route to goal. But again, good start to the second half by both sides.
Here is Paredes. Now Lopez. Handsome. Knocks the ball in behind. And it's good work from Vigors-Dottir to get it out of play. And almost hitting a steward. Don John thinks there'll be 2 or more goals in the second half. Well, that would be a very thrilling game.
Yeah.
Paredes knocks it wide. Hansen. I think there's another goal in this game at least. I don't know which direction.
Yeah.
But I think that could very much decide the tie. Lopez. Forced out of play. And that will be a Bayern throw-in.
Not been her evening for is it for Vicky Lopez?
No, I don't think she's been able to impact the game as much as she would have wanted to. Ket has walked a good 15 yards up the line here. Taken full liberty with the officiating. Viol into Dorman. Harder drops into an onside position. That distracts the defenders and Dorman carrying it into the space vacated. Good work though from Gallardo to win it off Dorman. And Barca back in possession. Putellas under pressure. Somehow finds Patry. But Bayern winning it back. Here's Ket. Moving it across her back line. A lovely pass into Gilia Gwyn, who is short on support. Stanway. Now Vigors-Dottir. Out wide again to Gwyn. Schneider says Vicky should come off. Who would you bring on then if you're Barcelona? Do you play it safe with someone like Serayodi? I mean, if that in itself, is that a risk?
Yeah.
Lovely pass inside from Buell to Dorman. Back to Buell. Has she stayed on side? Not sure. Looks to play it in behind. The flag does follow anyway.
Yeah, just a bit poor there from Buell. Should have timed that better, but lost it anyway. But again, it's positive from Bayern Munich, and but they all sense an opportunity. This being the home leg, Barcelona not been at full, have not really gone through the gears. They've looked good, of course. It's been a good, if they hadn't, then Bayern would probably be winning. But yeah, I think they will want to capitalise. But they need to level up as soon as possible.
Yeah. Leon exchanging with Putellas. Putellas surveying her options, goes back to Mape Leon. Leon trying to find that forward pass. Amani cuts it out. Vigors-Dottir. Now Gwyn. That ball over the top. Looking for someone in a Bayern shirt. Unable to pick anyone out though.
I'll be very intrigued to see who blinks first with changes. Both sides have got quality on the bench. It'll be interesting to see who does go first. As you say, you're looking at a Seriordi, a Nazareth to come into this game and just to mix things up.
I guess that's the less risky option, isn't it? You just do Nazareth for Lopez or some sort of straight swap.
Yeah.
Here is Eva Payor. Leon. But I think that this is the problem. I think that makes you just a little bit worse. Which I know Lopez has struggled, but on paper. Putellas getting caught there. Free kick good position here for Barcelona.
Yeah, just a little bit clumsy there from Georgia Stanway. But probably a foul against on Putellas there. But yeah, I think for Bayern as well, the hard thing to judge is when is the right time. You've got to try and find that balance. You don't want to shake things up too early, or shake things up too much and you cost yourselves. But you also don't want to wait too long and then Barcelona punish because your side tire. Got to find that right balance when to insert that energy and that intensity.
Zeta says, I kind of forgot Kika played for Barca. It's a nice player to have. People forget about, isn't it? Leon into the box, headed away well. But yeah, I mean, she's struggled a bit with injuries, hasn't she? I don't think she is as good as a lot of their other options. I think they've got players that have come through the academy that are already better.
Yeah.
But she does give you someone who is, I think, consistent enough in the Liga F, and they do need players that can play those kind of games.
Yeah.
And I think she's still got difference-making capabilities. And she's also fairly cheap, which, I mean, she came in on a free transfer, right? And I think probably on a fairly decent wage.
Yeah.
No, not an outrageously high one. Lopez cutting inside. Should get the shot away. Might not have been a free, actually. Yeah, still young, of course, as well, to be fair. Kicking only 23. Thrown on the near side here for Barcelona. Paredes now to Leon. Pass wide with Hansen, who swings it into the box, and it'll bounce through, and an opportunity. There's May Brooks there, firing into the side netting. Marmitovic came to claim and made a bit of a mess of it.
Yeah, very wide from Marmitovic to try and get there. Then thought she could let it run, but it's Brooks again. Brooks has just been allowed. She just drifts off the back of Gwyn there.
Yeah, really intelligent play from Brooks just to find herself in that bit of a pocket of space.
Mm.
Of course, there's another is classy, but just miss a lot of footballing as a team when minutes are tough to get. Yeah, I think as well she's a player who, I mean, watching her for Portugal, she's a player who likes to be the sort of the main player, the player that receives all of the ball. You're never going to be that at Barcelona.
Mm.
And I mean, I wouldn't be surprised if, similar to sort of like a Mariana Caldente, she left in a couple of years searching somewhere where she is the main star.
Yeah.
Because at Arsenal, Caldente is the best player. At Barcelona, she was one of many world-class players. Header towards goal. That's a good save, Payor. It was quite deep, but she did well to divert it towards goal. Marmitovic does well to adjust.
Yeah. Again, it's really good from Payor. Just judges the way at the pass, times the run, and flicks it on nicely. And Marmitovic as well to just follow the ball across goal and claim it.
Armani. Now Francis Caquette looking down the line. Cut out by Lopez and out for a Bayern throw.
Yeah, it's been a good spell from Barcelona, this. And again, this game has ebbed and flowed. But this is where Bayern need to now try and respond again and find a way to reply to what has been some good pressure from Barcelona.
Stanway looking out towards the right-hand side, finds Gwyn. Gwyn pokes it forward to Dorman. Dorman drops the shoulder, poking it towards Tanakawa. Can't quite find the Japanese midfielder. And so Barcelona carrying the ball. Leon. Puteas playing it wide into Esme Brooks. Now to Puteas again. And now wide with Brooks. Back to Mapillon. Lopez. Paredes. Here is Onabatier. Forced back again. This time to Gallardo, to Hansen. Back to Lopez looking for Caroline Graham Hansen, who does really well to get around the defender, cutting it back, and it's blocked by Gilles. Brilliant play from Hansen. The first time she's not been running at Franziska Caquette, and she found a little bit more joy up against Georgia Stanway.
Yeah, really good from Hansen. Stanway, she does want to track the run, but just gets beaten too easily by Graham Hansen, and it's good from Gilles in the penalty area to put the cross behind. But again, I think Bayern are just starting to tire a little bit, and Barcelona are looking to take advantage.
Mapillion putting the ball in towards the front post. It's headed in towards the middle of the goal, off the line, kept alive by Esme Brooks. Puteas battling to get there. Now Pina puts it on goal. It's a good save from Marmutovic, who's going to look to go direct, and Dorman's in. Dorman's in behind, but Katina Cole off her line brilliantly. And I thought that was a little bit too relaxed from Mapillion for it to be as dangerous as it appeared, but Katina Cole sweeping. Now she does so well. That was such a difficult one to get right. She wanted to get Dorman in behind there, Marmutovic, but obviously we know Katina Cole likes to come off her line very early.
Yeah. But again, Barcelona are getting better chances now. Marmutovic was forced into a save by Payor a couple minutes ago. They're off the line from the corner.
They're definitely getting more shots away now. But quite interestingly, Bayern have still had more touch in the opposition box. But they're just... we've seen it a couple of times now. Armani got in there and Tanikawa. They haven't got shots away from those positions, though. Whereas Barcelona put the ball in the box. It's so much pressure immediately.
Yeah.
And that's what they've looked to try to do.
Yeah, it's going to be Barcelona to blink first with the changes.
Well, Barca's coaching staff not happy with something there. Playing to the fourth official. And it is Clara Serrayorde that's going to come on at the next interval. Brooks cut out well by Tanikawa. And now Dorman, Armani to Stanway. Got to shift it left, surely. Goes backwards into Vigasdottir. Now Gilles. And all the way back to the goalkeeper, Marmutovic. And it's cut out in there by Gallardo, but it falls straight back to Marmutovic. Ball headed away well by Onabatie. Falls in midfield and Tanakawa wins it. It's given as a foul against Puteas. Bit of a harsh call against Amani. I thought it was just strength initially, but we'll have a look at the replay. 31,000 here at the Allianz Arena. That's not a bad attendance at all. Credit to Bayern getting behind their team, especially considering it is a weekend. It is a game where you know the Bayern men's side were also in action, and it will be Vicky Lopez for Clara Serrayorde. So I wonder if Pere Romeo has perhaps been watching the stream then.
Yeah, on the bench.
Yeah, just that's where he gets his tactical advice. What's the YouTube live chat saying?
Yeah.
But yeah, Lopez off. I think that makes sense. I think he's massively struggled in this game.
Yeah. And
especially the yellow card, it makes sense to bring her off early. Brooks touching it back to Pina. Brooks. I mean, Brooks might well be playing as a left winger. She's that high up the pitch.
Yeah.
There's times where she's coming inside and like Puteas is pulling wide to make up for it. Brooks. Gallardo through the lines, one back in midfield. Here is Esme Brooks. Leon. Brooks. Knocks it out to the left-hand side. Puteas. Dorman stands her up. Leon. Now to Pina. Gallardo. And here is Leon. Looking to put the ball into the area now. Mappe Leon into a dangerous position. Headed away, really, by Caroline Graham-Hansen. And Vigasdottir clearing it into Puteas and winning a side. A goal kick.
Yeah. Massive 27 minutes left of this game. Bayern know they probably need to find a leveller. 1-0 wouldn't be a bad result, but they'd like to be going into that second leg at least level, if not leading. Especially with that second leg being away. Plenty of time left though. They haven't threatened too much in the second half, but this is much better.
Down the left-hand side, here is Armani again. Looks to play it inside. Tanikawa looks for the cut back. It's cleared. Here's Armani. Can she get the shot away? Touches to Buell. Buell on the edge with Stanway. Can't quite get the shot away again. Ket. Back to Gwyn. Options down the line.
Someone's just got to shoot for Bayern.
Yeah. Here's Georgia Stanway. playing it through the lines, and Bruggs intercepts. Just no one backed themselves there. They wanted the perfect shot. I think Bjorn's got to come inside with a bit more aggression, a little bit more belief.
I think even Tanaka with the first one, rather than trying to cut it back, I think you've got to shoot towards the far corner, and either it goes in, or if Cole saves it, parries it straight to Dorman, who she was looking to pick out. So, yeah, I think they've just got to be braver to take the shots on in the final third, because that's another really good move, but they didn't get a single shot out of it.
Out towards the left-hand side. Here come Barcelona. Pina wants to take on Dorman. Blocked well by Gwyn. And out for a Barcelona corner.
Yeah, we know they can always threaten from set pieces. Barcelona, their first corner of the game resulted in a header being cleared off the line by Vanessa Gil. And you think they're going to look to do something similar here. Bayern do well to kind of fill their own 6-yard box with red shirts. And that does make it a little bit more difficult. Unlike Real Madrid, who just let Paredes walk in at the back post and head it home.
Yeah. They haven't allowed that just yet. Will that change here? Hansen over this. Into a good area. Headed away well. And Sarah Yordi trying her luck on the edge of the box. For putting it into the Bayern fans behind the goal.
Yeah, just leant back and kind of half volleyed it way over the butt. Needs to get over it.
But how Bayern haven't got more shots away in this second half is just beyond me. Putellas here with head injury again. Has had a couple knocks so far in this game, Putellas. And this does seem to be a little bit concerning. Just taking her time to get back to her feet. Referee seems to be happy that she's okay to continue though. But yeah, Bayern haven't got enough shots away. One shot in the second half to Barcelona's 6. In the first half, they were level on shots. Bayern yet to put one on goal, though. Barca put 3. That has been the difference in this second half, is that they're starting Barcelona to make their strength count. And Bayern, while they've come forwards 3 or 4 times, they've not been getting shots away in any of them.
Yeah.
That's simply not good enough. Good header from Battier to beat Buell in the air.
That's the other thing. Them coming forward and having shots just takes the pressure off. And you feel that second goal for Barcelona isn't too far away. And that would leave Bayern with a lot of work to do next week.
Only Phil could bring up York City in the middle of a Champions League semi-final. But yes, that was dramatic. If we see anything like that in this game, well, we are in for a barnstormer. But indeed, huge result for York. Back in the Football League. Mapileon. Now to Gallardo. Ball in behind, trying to find Caroline Graham. Hansen looking for the cutback, lifted towards the back post. Pina header up towards goal. Over the bar. Unable to test Marmutovic, who saw it all the way.
Yeah, I didn't think Graham Hansen had done enough to keep it in. Originally, this is the best angle to get a look at it. Not that it matters now. She did keep it on the pitch. Not a bad ball in. Pina does well to generate the power, but can't quite get it up and under. Yeah, just a little bit too much on it in the end.
Harder tries to compete in the air. Sarayorde into Putellas. Hansen.
Bayern need changes. You know, I think you've got to look at a Caruso just to bring intensity into the midfield.
Yeah, I think you do need that energy now, don't you? You know, do you look at a Caruso? Do you look at an Amade? Something in the front line as well, I think would bring that height.
Yeah, Harder hasn't really gotten the ball in the second half at all.
No, I think even when she did in the first half, struggled for that impact. I would look at Amade. It's just tough because I feel like Pernille Harder's the kind of player who can always make something happen in any moment of the game.
Yeah.
But I think you need someone who's just going to go and rough up Leon, rough up Paredes, be that sort of presence, force Barca back a little bit, perhaps, if they're able to play that ball long, Amade can hold it up. If you can, I mean, maybe you keep Harder on there in the 10 role or something and bring off Dortmund, but they're coming forwards now, and it's Pernilla Harder driving it forwards for Bayern Munich, breaking into the penalty area, looks for the cutback, and finds Franziska Ket. Can she score? Yes, she can! Bayern Munich draw level in this game. A fantastic breakaway. And as I say, Harder can come up with something in a moment. She drives down the left-hand side, breaks into the box, cuts it back, and Bayern draw level. Franziska Ket was my player of the first half, and she comes up with a big goal there. It's Bayern 1, Barcelona 1.
A massive moment in this tie. It's a brilliant breakaway, and it's all led by Pernilla Harder. Superb football from Buell to Downward, and Harder's away, and she just drives exactly what Bayern need to do, is direct. The cutback is brilliant. The dummy run from Dortmund deserves a lot of credit as well. And Ket, who has been superb this evening, comes up big for Bayern. It's a really well taken goal. Just takes it onto her right foot and smashes it past Catalina Cole. And Bayern have done well defensively, and they sting in the second half. Massive goal, and really well taken by Franziska Ket.
It's incredible from Ket. What Ket does in that moment to receive on her weak foot, but open up it's a positive touch. It opens up the shot, and it keeps it within her control. She then strikes on her weak foot around Catalina Cole into the back of the net, and Bayern have a level of her first Champions League goal.
Wow.
What a moment to find it.
Yeah, but they've got to settle now, Bayern Munich. 20 minutes to go. Got to settle. Hearts will be racing. The energy at the Allianz will have just increased, but they've got to remain regimented. Don't allow Barcelona back into it.
Falling towards the back post, and Ket dealing with Hansen, and that's out for a goal kick. It's a mixture of that, but they also need a goal.
They've got to use it. Yeah,
they can't, for me, go to the new camp with, or the Camp Nou with it being level. They have to get a goal. They have to have something to defend next week. They've fought so hard, Bayern Munich. Can they now find a winner in this first leg? That's the big question. But they've also still got to limit Barcelona.
Yeah,
they can't doubt the prowess of Barcelona. Ball down the left-hand side from Ket. Into Clara Buell. Buell trying to hold it up. Battier does well, but Buell battles away and wins back possession. Ball launched forward by Vanessa Gil. Drops in midfield. Tanakawa. Then Ket wins it. And now Stanway trying to shield it out of play after Butas's heavy touch.
Just feel, I said a couple of minutes ago that Bayern Munich need energy from the bench. And I think it's just come from that goal.
Yeah, they've got energy from that. They've got adrenaline from that moment.
Yeah.
I still think they need something off the bench because Barca are bringing changes and they need to respond.
Yeah.
But equally, it's working for Bayern. You don't want to risk upsetting the balance. They've got to be the right changes. It's big calls now that you've got to make. You're competing on the biggest stage against one of the best sides in the world. Arguably the best side in the world. You've got to get everything right. Yeah. They have done so far. Huge credit to Jose Barcola. I think from the bench, he's got the better of Pere Romeu.
Yeah, and it's a big test now. As you say, 80 minutes to go. Two elite sides locked at 1-1. The difference makers have stood in the technical areas. The decisions that are made now with the changes and more subs are going to come for Barcelona. And you feel that Bayern have got to react. Because this is, they've already made one change now, Barcelona, and they're now going to make another two.
Paoluelo and Kika Nazarov then looking for a bit of a difference maker in midfield, looking for someone to come onto the left wing and provide something that will perhaps stretch the play by the looks of it. So it's Pina and Hansen making way, and it's Paoluelo and Nazarov onto the field then. This will be interesting. So Paoluelo to the left, Nazarov to the left, and Paoluelo to the right. So pretty much like for like in terms of profiles then. They're looking for a runner on the right-hand side, someone that's going to take it down the line. They're looking for someone on the left that's going to come inside. Would you not have done something differently there? Would you not have looked at getting perhaps different profiles? It's energy, and that's important. And maybe Romeu's really happy with what they've done, which I think you can argue with. But it's the same. It's very similar profiles in those roles. So it's just new energy for Barcelona. Is that enough?
It could be. Definitely could be, especially because Bayern haven't reacted. If Bayern do, then energy the energy from the bench cancels each other out, really, depending on position. But yeah, it'll be very interesting to see, whether that does make too much of a difference.
I just think if you put Paoluelo and Hansen, do you have a better chance of stretching Bayern a little bit more than they have been? But then do you limit the output of Esme Brooks? That's the balancing act, isn't it? Putellas Playing it forwards, Payor to Nazareth, who struggles really in that pocket, just gets swarmed by Bayern Munich. That's brilliant work from Dortmund just to loop it out of play.
Yeah, I think Barkler is really debating whether to risk up. No, he's not debating.
He's no longer debating. I think this is a smart change. So that is going to be Clara Buell, who was an injury doubt anyway for this game, making way for Ariana Caruso. Presumably Tanikawa then will go to the left wing, and Caruso comes into the 10 role, I would assume.
Yeah, I don't mind that at all, as you say.
Buell, Caruso can also play on the wing.
Buell, you want to save and make sure that she is fully fit and raring to go for the second leg. And Caruso will just come on, bring combativeness and bring energy.
She's done her job. I think she's played a huge part in Bayern, probably playing the better performance in this game. Carried the ball forward well, was dangerous when she got opportunities. Not her fault that she created chances and her teammates couldn't put them away.
Yeah. And again, even the goal started with her and Dortmund, and then Dortmund releases harder in behind.
Battier. Now Paredes. Gallardo. Paredes. Into Ona Battier. Here is Kika Nazareth. Battier's made a great penetration run in the half space. It's just going to pull players inside as Battier now receives it, knocks it wide. Paraluelo's got a bit of space to work with, cuts it back. Sarayorde lifts it in there. Good delivery. Tanikawa heads it clear. And Georgia Stanway smashing it away. Paredes makes a bit of a meal of it, recovers well. Here is Patry. And now Battier. Chased down by Tanikawa. Ball goes wide to Paraluelo. Now Battier. Working well, inverting into this midfield role. Gallardo looking to just clip it in behind to Paraluelo. Can she make something happen now? Ball across goal and a half shot, half cross from Paraluelo. Not able to threaten for either option.
And that's exactly why Barkler was reluctant to go to the bench so early on, because it's a miscommunication between Ket and the player who's just come on in Caruso. Ket and Buell had got it down as to who was doing what. There, they miscommunicate, and neither one of them tracks back with Paraluelo.
Ket under pressure finds Imani. Back now to Gilles, and Gilles choosing the smart option and clearing her lines.
I think the Allianz has just been lifted, you feel, and that could be massive for Bayern Munich.
That needs to have an impact. Bayern have to channel that now into their performance. If it can see them through at 1-1 or find them a winner, it keeps them alive for next week. That's the most important thing. Anything can then happen, in over 90 minutes. Of course, Barca will have the advantage at the Camp Nou, and that's, I think, why Bayern really need a goal. But as they've shown in this game, Bayern have competed really well, and regardless of where they are, if they can play like this, it could push them over the line. Yeah. And they've gone toe-to-toe with Barcelona, really. I mean, obviously you don't try and out-possess Barca, but in terms of what you can do to nullify their strengths and expose their weaknesses, Bayern have hit the nail on the head. Yeah. Sarayorde now to Nazareth. Here is Ona Battier. And Sarayorde. Battier. Gallardo. Swing into the box. And it's not fully dealt with. Nazareth gets to the ball. It's cleared away. And it did seem to hit the arm there of Kika Nazareth.
Yeah. But I'm very happy with that, because I think Vanessa Gilles should have done a lot better with the clearance. Not under much pressure, comes to her as the first player in the box and just passes it straight to Kika Nazareth. Yeah, she flicked that onto her own arm there, did Kika Nazareth.
Ball launched forwards. Header won by Gallardo. Heads away as far as Imani. And a pass inside. And here is Georgia Stanway. Ket. Tanikawa. Lovely drop of the shoulder, but too much on the pass through. Yeah. Rushed it. I mean, it had a split second to play the pass, but just, way too much power on that.
Did the hard part. The drop of the shoulder and the turn inside was class. Just too much on the pass towards Penila Harder.
On Battier. Now Samuel Paraluelo. Paraluelo trying to turn. Was that a hair pull from Francisca Ket? That's what the argument is.
Angle's awful.
Yeah, didn't get a clean angle on it. No.
Oh yeah.
Ket's going to be in trouble here. I mean, it might not get penalised based on what we've learned. but Ket does seem to grab the hair of Sama Paralawelo, which is usually a red card offence.
Yeah.
Obviously, that doesn't apply to certain players in the Champions League quarter-finals, but will Ket be as lucky? They are going to check this. I think she'll be sent off, which will just show the inconsistency, won't it, of UEFA? This is a red card. It's a hair pull. And it's so frustrating. A player who's been incredible today, Franziska Ket. And it's just such a silly mistake. She's gone. Franziska Ket is dismissed. A red card for Ket and Bayern down to 10. And that makes their life so much harder. It's so unnecessary. She was dismissed immediately on field by the referee. They didn't show it. Barkala, I think, has also been dismissed for his frustration.
Oh, yeah.
And that might kill the tie. What a silly moment from Franziska Ket.
Well, there's cards going all over the place.
Barkala's furious. And he's down the tunnel now.
They've lost their way. I
think there's a couple coaches that maybe will be joining him.
Yeah. They've completely lost their way, Bayern, which they could not afford to do. They've done brilliantly for 79 minutes, and now they've just completely lost it. It's really silly from Ket to get herself sent off like that. For Barker to then react and get himself sent off.
Another booking on the bench.
For that.
And another coach goes, Barkala is watching from the tunnel. How long will he be allowed to do that?
That's a meme somewhere, isn't it? Barkala watching through the bars of the tunnel.
It looks like he's been arrested and just put him in some sort of cage. Now Bayern will go defensive now. Pedersen on for Dortmund. And that, it kills the tie.
Yeah.
But Bayern have got to see this out now, but it's killed what's been a fantastic game of football. And it's so silly from Ket. She was the best player on the pitch up until that moment.
And no matter the result now,
what a mess.
Ket will be out for the rest of the tournament, and Barkala as well will find himself lucky if it's only a game.
Yeah, just emotion spilling over. It was a stupid hair pull. And now Ode, firing into bodies. Barca have momentum. Ball clipped over the top. Headed away by Gwyn. She'll want to stop this going from a corner, and she does. Knocking it down the line. Harder or bust a gut to get there. Ultimately, it's defence first for Bayern at this stage. Here's Nazareth. Keeps it on the field of play. Knocks it all the way back to Mapa Leon. Leon delivered into the area. Bounces through. All the way through. Paluedo now up against Georgia Stanway. Sarayodi. Battier cuts it back. Runs through and it's cleared away well.
It's just a quick can Bayern Munich hold on like this for 8 minutes. It's a big ask.
Yeah, absolutely.
Especially without a manager and a player less.
Because I think it's 3 as it's classed as violent conduct. Yes. But I mean, it's an obvious hair pull. It gets penalised every time unless you are Irish and play for Arsenal. But yeah, Ket and Barkala. I mean, Barkala's furious, I think, at Ket as much as he's furious at the decision.
It was right in front of him. He will know that it was a hair pull. The fact he reacted in the way he did is very, very poor.
But I don't know if it was frustration at the referee's decision or frustration at the fact it happened. I mean, I imagine in that moment you're angry, and it may have been directed at the referee, but I don't think his frustration was at the red card. I think his frustration was at the fact the red card had happened.
Yeah.
And it was channeled in the wrong way.
Oh, yeah.
Caruso pulled down there. Should be yellow card here. And it will be for, was that Ona Battier? Or Paredes? I think it was. Oh, it's Gallardo, sorry.
Yeah, good from Caruso. Just bursts away and gets the free kick. And that's exactly what Bayern Munich need to do. As much as they'd love to score a winner here, a free kick in Barcelona's half is just going to take a minute or two out of the game. Which is exactly what they need to do. But yeah, I have to say, I think overall it's been officiated very well, which is what you want to see in these kind of matches. But a very busy 5-10 minutes of yellow and red cards for the referee.
Yeah. Gilia Gwyn lifting the ball into the area. Can they get it on target? It's headed towards goal. Battier gets it away, and then Kika Nazareth clears our lines. Here's Stanway. Pedersen. Imani. Stanway. Bayern keep players forwards here, and Stanway will lift it into the area. Harder will challenge for it, but Cassie Nicole claims that one with little issue. I mean, how hard do Barca go now? Do they really push for the second goal and try and get it off now and risk some sort of moment where Bayern get a goal?
I think so.
Or do they just allow this last 6 minutes to play out because they've got that extra player they can just move to keep the ball?
Got to go for it. You use the extra player to take the aggregate advantage. I think that it would take something miraculous for Bayern Munich to somehow break away and score with a player less. So I think they've got to go for it. Use the fact they're missing a player.
And it says, where's the referee from? Croatia, I think.
Yes.
Ivina Martincic. I mean, great referee. That's the difference you get with a good official. I don't think she's got much wrong today at all.
No.
Putellas wriggling away around the edge of the penalty area. Tanaka wins it back. And here's Pernilla Harder trying to carry it forwards. Runs herself into trouble with Leon. And Leon will bust her gut to keep this possession. And Barca on the ball.
Yeah, it's good to see that things like that hair pull getting seen on the field.
Yeah. What a stupid moment for Franziska Kett. And it may well cost Bayern the semi-final.
She was the best player on the pitch for 75 minutes.
Yeah, I may also get the player of the match award. It was a stupid moment, but she was fantastic. Leon. Now into Payor. And Tanakawa stands her up, but Payor knocks it on into her, and it will be a corner. With the extra play, they've got to put pressure.
Yeah. They're going to have someone free. You think that Bayern Munich will just put every single outfielder into the 18-yard box here and just look to try and make the first contact be a red shirt. Massive 5 minutes. Plus additional time, which you'd expect to be 4-5 minutes. So, yeah. Plenty of time for Barcelona to try and grind out a winner here.
Leon, ball into the area. Putellas heading across. Payor now across goal. Gallardo, her header's blocked. It will be a corner. Mamitovic trying to claim the other way.
Yeah, right decision. Gallardo contested with Tanakawa. And
Comes off Tanakawa, yeah. Mamitovic, I think, trying her best there to convince the officials.
She was the only one who went with a convincing appeal. Everyone else went for a very tame, just stick your hand in there.
Up and you never know.
Yeah.
Leon then over this corner. What can Barcelona do? In towards the back post this time. It's skewed across. An overhead kick attempt from Gallardo. It's blocked on its way through. Tanakawa tries to clear it. An overhead kick clearance from Caruso. Leon now puts the ball on top of the keeper. Great stop from Mamitovic. Fired with venom by Mapi Leon. And parried wide brilliantly by Mamitovic.
Yeah, Bayern just doing enough to hold on. Would have been two brilliant ways to take an aggregate lead. First from Gallardo with the overhead kick attempt, and then Leon from range with a great strike. And well saved by Mamitovic. Really good. Strong hand. Yeah, looking back at that overhead kick attempt from Gallardo, well hit, but Tanakawa in the way.
Mapi Leon. Ball in on top of the goalkeeper. Mamitovic deals well again. And Pedersen hits the ball clear. And Sarayote trying to get the ball under her control so she can take the throw in. Now it's with Nazareth. And Barcelona just looking to put Bayern under all sorts of pressure late on. Leon lifting it through the lines. Head away by Vigos-Dottir. And steered clear by Imani. Imani, ball to the left-hand side now. Putellas. Her cross is blocked. And another Barcelona corner. They're racking them up at the end of this game.
Yeah, Bayern are just trying to get it out by any means necessary. And it's just allowing Barcelona to keep the pressure on. Another corner, and they're threatened from a few of these. They haven't managed to get too many, shots away directly from the corner, but it's the way they've recycled it and just kept it alive in the area that is keeping Bayern Munich under pressure.
Out to the left-hand side with Leon, the corner taken short, and a bit of a waste of a moment there for Barcelona.
Has to cut it back to the edge of the area there, Leon. Brilliant short corner routine. Has to realise the amount of space. I think there were 2 Barcelona players queuing up on the edge. Has to cut it back there rather than looking to fire it in at the near post.
Of course, as if Mappy ever leaves Barca, will she play midfield or defence? Well, London City have got loads of both of those positions, so who knows? If they play a back 3 again next season, she might play in the back 3. If they play a back 4, she might play in the back 4. She might play a left back because they don't have enough of those. And a high boot there from Gallardo. Free kick for Bayern.
Pernilla Harder just finds ways to win free kicks. And it has been such a useful tool for Bayern Munich. This one's a bit less of her influence, but
she drops her head in there. She's never going to win that ball.
Just throws.
Because she puts her head down, any sort of height on that from Gallardo is going to be a high foot.
Yeah, I mean, I can sympathise with Gallardo because Harder has leant down a long way there.
She's almost on the floor.
Yeah,
do a handstand, and no one can tackle you.
But yeah, again, it's just really smart from Harder.
Laura says, if you pulled on my hair on the high street, you get arrested. Yeah, but if you made a slide tackle in the high street, it's still attacking someone. I've had shoulder bar someone on the high street. But I get what you're saying. You can't pull people's hair. Especially not in football. When players are running, it can cause so many neck injuries because of that sudden change. Ball in towards the back post. It seems to become a massive issue in recent years. I don't know if it just didn't go ping lines before, but I think we're going to see a trend soon where just players have ridiculously long hair. Yeah. Because you think about the kind of players it's been pulled against, they've all got really long hair. It was Diani, I think, at the Euros. Yeah. Alyssa Thompson.
Thompson's had it twice now this season, which is weird because her hair isn't like...
But it is quite long. It goes right down the back. And if you're trying to grab the back of the shirt, you need a ponytail that goes right down the back. Whereas you look at the Bayern squad, no one's got enough hair for that.
Yeah. I hate that argument of just trying to grab the shirt.
Well, you shouldn't be grabbing the shirt, should you? It's the counter to that, isn't it?
Well, A, yeah, that. B, when you feel the hair, just let go. And C, doesn't really, again, intent matters a little bit in football, but you still did it. So, yeah.
It's also, you can't judge intent.
No.
You don't know what a player's thinking unless
me sat 1,000 miles away, can't go, she didn't mean to do that.
No. You can guess based on body language, but yeah. Here is Battier. We're already played through a minute of the 5 additional. Battier. Lifting the ball into the area. Heads away well by Vigersdottir. It's going to drop for Leon. He's practically playing as a left back at this stage. And Barcelona just have 3 defenders.
Yeah.
1, really, with Paredes just sitting deep when everyone else is getting forwards. Paredes. Here's Putellas. Now Nazareth. Could shoot from this kind of range. Charged down and blocked by Stanway. Gwyn heading it away. A shot now towards goal. It's blocked. And Mahmutovic does well enough to stop it and then takes her time collecting it up. And she has been booked at some point in there for either complaints or dissent or taking too long. Didn't see.
That could have
they would be my guesses.
There's several opportunities that happened in the last 4 minutes.
Parallelo. Now, Sarayodi. Putellas. Battier, ball into the box. It's blocked. It'll fall for Payor, whose shot is blocked. It falls for Sarayodi. Can she get a shot away, wriggling into the penalty area? Bayern do well not to foul her, and it's cleared away well by Stanway, getting distance on the clearance. It's out for a throw-in on this near side.
Barcelona just can't seem to find a clean shot on goal. There's so many bodies in that penalty area. Bayern Munich readying another change.
They're just going to try and shut this game down. 2 minutes to play.
A massive 2 minutes.
Ball into the area. Parallelo heads towards goal. Vanessa Gil heading it away. And Harder does brilliantly to win it back and draws the foul. And Sarayodi dragging her down will be carded for that incident. Brilliant again from Harder to win back the ball. It forces Sarayodi to commit that foul. Because if not, Bayern could have got forwards, especially with how high Barca were.
It's a slight tug. And Harder does so well just to flail the arms around and make it look like she's been pulled back with force.
Giving Neymar a run for its money, really, in terms of the theatrics.
And that is her last contribution.
Great shift from Pernilla Harder. Oh, what an incredible footballer. Namade on in our place then to lead the line. Hey, why says McCabe got away with a hair pull? I mean, McCabe could get away with murder. The amount of incidents that she's not been penalised for, either on the pitch or retroactively, yeah, I wasn't surprised. Bayern send it forwards and straight out of play. A minute to go, though. They've just got to see out 60 more seconds. And they take it level to the Camp Nou. Around the corner from Leon. Paraluelo nods it down. Here's Sarayordi. And Putellas, great tackle from Amani, sorry. Now with Leon. Paredes. Putellas. Gallardo. Lifting towards the left-hand side. Gwyn just trying to stand her up. Ball to the box. Sarayordi makes a mess of it. Bate now, can she get the ball across the box? Lifts it in the air towards the back post. Gwyn heads it away. Still alive with Nazareth. Cuts it back. Paraluelo shifts it. Shoots over the bar. Paraluelo with a big chance missed. Has to score that, Salma Paraluelo. What an opportunity. What a miss.
That was the game. Brilliant for Nazareth to pick out Paraluelo, who does well to see off Tanakawa's block and then has to find the back of the net from there.
Tanakawa just does enough to force her wide. There's then so many Bayern bodies in front of her. She tries to just pick out the top corner. Just smashes it over the bar.
Wow.
Then you've got to fight into the bodies. Every chance that it takes a nice deflection, hits a hand. You've got to put that on target at the very least. Blazing it over from that kind of distance. It's just not good enough from Paraluelo. And that will be the final whistle here at the Allianz Arena. Bayern 1, Barcelona 1. I think they took Barcelona toe-to-toe there for 90 minutes, Bayern Munich. Without the red card for Franziska Cat, a stupid hair pull, they may well have got an even better result from this game. But what a credit Bayern Munich were in this game. Really took the game to Barcelona and probably deserve more.
Yeah, a fantastic battle between the two sides. What more do you want from a Champions League semi-final? 2 goals, a red card on the pitch, a red card off the pitch, absolute drama everywhere you look, and 2 elite teams. Nothing to separate them after 90 minutes, and it's still all to play for going into next week. As you say, Bayern Munich probably would have liked to have taken an advantage from their home leg, but the main thing is it's all square. They are still in the tie, and even if they won't have Ket or Barkala for the return leg next weekend, they have given themselves a very good opportunity. Not sure how Barkala is out on the pitch at full time. But that's his problem. But
they didn't really make him go up in the stands. He just sort of stood in the tunnel and looked through the bars.
Brilliant. But yeah, a crazy game. Francesca Ket went from hero to zero in 6 minutes.
Yeah.
And at the end of it, at the end of a crazy 90 minutes, it actually, apart from the red cards, the scoreline has no effect on what happens next week. It's all to play for. It might as well be 0-0. But yeah, what an incredible game.
Yeah, fairness chances, I think both will be fine with that result. It's probably the case. I think Barca will look at the second leg at the Camp Nou and think, well, we're at home. We should be able to find the goals there. This hasn't had too much of an impact. We're not having to fight back for anything. For Bayern, they're still in the tie, and that's what they want. Anything can happen over 90 minutes. If they play like they did in this game, and they are more clinical than they were in this game, then I think they can get through. So it's still alive going into that leg. You nailed the prediction, so congratulations. First time that's happened this season. So got to get it right at some point. But yeah, I think it was a really good Champions League semi-final. 2 sides playing at the top of their games, played some really nice football in this match. It's exactly what we want to see from the Women's Champions League. I think last year, Chelsea made it way too easy for Barcelona, got the setup horribly wrong, and Barcelona fully capitalised. And ultimately in the second leg of Arsenal-Leon fell apart, Arsenal found a way. Hopefully this year we're going to have much closer games, and this was the closest of anything we've seen in the Champions League semi-finals for a good couple of years. Hopefully Arsenal-Leon is similar fashion tomorrow. that is a reminder to join us tomorrow. I won't be here, but Harry is here for the double header. We're live Harry's live in the morning. What are you live for, Harry?
I am live for Tottenham versus Manchester United.
Indeed, Tottenham Manchester United on Sunday morning, and then directly after that, you've got a small break before the Champions League semi-final first leg between OL Lyonnais away at the Emirates Stadium at Arsenal. Should be a fantastic day of football tomorrow, so make sure to join Harry for all of that. We'll be back on Thursday this week to talk about all things WSL, but we will have a video as well before that in the week where I analyse one of the Champions League games. Will it be this one? Will it be Arsenal or Lyonnais? We'll see what happens in the game tomorrow, but lots to talk about if it is going to be that Barcelona game. What a game of football. Thanks to everyone that has joined us for this stream. Thanks to everyone that joined us throughout the day as well. And make sure to join Harry live here tomorrow for more WSL and more Champions League action. Of course, we'll be back next weekend with both Champions League semi-finals second legs. So if you enjoyed today's stream, make sure to join us there next weekend. That knows everything. Thank you guys very much for watching, and we'll see you next time.